A night in with Mauler and the drinker, getting trashed with the web screen thinkers. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop up the cork, have a glass of wine, pass fail safe, I'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line, but pour me a Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, Mauler and the critical drinker.
All right, welcome everybody. Hello there.
We're back.
We're back after taking a week off.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to be back. I, as I said to people, I've been away on holiday for like a week or so, and I'm like finally got a tan after about 6 months, so that was nice. It'll fade now that I'm back in Scotland after a week or so, but I'll enjoy it while it's here. But yeah, it's good to be back doing this. I just flew home today, so I'm slightly jet lagged and a little bit confused, and I'm not entirely sure what time zone I'm in, but that's okay. That's pretty much par for the course with any open bar. Have you coped okay, Mauler, without doing
I've
this?
survived, yeah.
I figured you'd be all right, yeah.
A couple of different releases. As much as for every end of Daredevil, which is horrendously awful, you get a G20, which raises your spirits laughably.
I can't wait to watch it. I might do that tomorrow, actually. And then
isn't that funny? I'm sitting here like, you should see G20. You shouldn't see Born Again.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
There's the entertainment value, though, isn't there? Like, there's something that's
yeah.
just blandly shit, and it's like, this is kind of boring and a bit disappointing. And then there's something that's spectacularly shit, and that's like next level. And you can have a bit of fun with that at least. So that's what I'm hoping for with G20. Hopefully it can deliver. The trailer certainly got me hyped up for it. I was excited.
Yeah, I think there's lots to. You're gonna love it. I think you'll love it. It's your kind of movie.
Yeah. No, excellent. Now I'm going to make an excuse here and say that because I just got home and I've been kind of busy like catching up on stuff, I hadn't had time to compile any like interesting facts about 1938. To coincide with Open Bar 138, but I think we're okay. We're getting a bit patchy with that sort of thing, and it's basically an excuse on my part. But yeah, sometimes I just don't have the time to do it, sadly. So I don't know, Mauler, do you have any random facts that you can quickly Google right now that you can hit us with?
No, not really. I mean, off the top of my head, I'd say 38 was a pretty pivotal year in terms of being marked by escalating tensions relating to World War II, including the Anschluss Union of Austria and Germany and the Munich Agreement.
Just off the top of your head,
Kristallnacht program. Yeah, I mean, other significant events like the Evian Conference on Refugees and the start of the National Dollar Store strike in San Francisco. Inventively, the ballpoint pen was invented in 38. So that's just stuff I know. You're just casually. We talk about this every other day. People just don't hear it,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tell you what movie came out in 1938? It seems like oddly prescient. Snow White, the original one, the animated one for Disney, the one that put Disney on the map. Walt Disney himself had to mortgage his house and gamble everything that he had on that movie, and lucky for him, it paid off. The remake, not so much. Here we are. This is the world that we live in.
What do you mean? I'll never forget that film. It's so good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much done at the cinema now, isn't it? Like it's sitting about 180 million, something like that. Wow, I don't think anyone could have predicted how bad that was going to be.
No, they couldn't. What a shame.
Oh well, their loss was our gain in so many ways.
Well, it did make for an amusing time, so there's that.
There is that, yeah. Anyway, let's bring in our guest panel so that we can get started with the actual chat for this evening. So,
yes.
Making his return to the bar after a long absence, it's my pleasure to welcome back Count Dankula himself, who's like half the man he used to be the last time he was on here. Jesus.
Do you want to know how fucking sad it is? I've still not bought myself new clothes, so none of my shit fits me.
I was going to say, thought so was looking different. What's your secret?
Just makes you look like you've got AIDS or something,
No, she even got half of me in the fucking divorce. That's what happened.
You just have to carve your belly fat off.
No, that's what it was. The funny thing is, I literally just stopped eating shit. That's all I did. I go to the gym all the time and I stopped eating shit, and this is what happened.
That's asking a lot.
Pretty good combination. You've started doing like MMA and stuff though as well, haven't you? And getting various bones broken in the process.
Yeah, I've not done it. I've not done it for a few months because they won't let me. Still, they want me. They want me to wait another few months before I get back in. But yeah, I got my fucking ribs broken back in January.
Oof, that's brutal.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, it fucking sucks. And then I got the flu while my ribs were broken, so I had to cough a lot. with
Oh,
broken
no.
ribs. That was great.
Oh.
Yeah, and I've just
That's
recovered
bad.
from stomach ulcers. I think someone hates me.
Well,
I'm having a
We
fucking
don't,
year
so it's
already.
okay. No, it's awesome. Honestly, man, it's great to have you back on this. So
It was good
thank
to
you
be
for
back,
giving
man.
up some of your time to do this. We've also got making his return to the bar, Echo Chamberlain. Welcome back, my friends. It's great to have you here as always.
Oh, it's great to be back. Yeah, I saw your holiday snap on Twitter, and it gave me the impression like you took your screensaver and took that to your travel agent and said, "Can you send me there?" That's like the official
You know, sometimes you just catch a scene and you're like, it's got palm trees, it's got a beach, it's got blue skies. It's like, right, that's perfect. I'm just gonna do that. And yeah, man, it was just nice. It was nice to be in pleasant surroundings for a change instead of Scotland. I don't know what to say. Like after like what feels like about 18 months of winter here and just looking at grey dead trees and stuff, it was just nice to be somewhere alive that was sunny and warm. So it was nice. Yeah. But yeah, and welcome back also to Dark Hour. How's it going, my friends?
This is going pretty good. Can't
Awesome.
complain. Whenever I'm on the bar, it's a good time. So
Always good, yeah. You're going to be our resident fight choreographer, which is going to be very relevant later in this show, actually, when you break down a certain fight scene in The Last of Us. But
I've had broken ribs as well, so I can say to Dankula, that sucks, man. It's I actually had two right before I competed once, and I was a blue belt, and I had two separate off my spine. It was like they broke at the back, and they had to be.
Mine were at the front at least, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah, mine were like it was like the top two. I think it was on the left. If I recall, it was the left side. They just snapped right off the spine. I was like,
Damn.
dude took me down, dumped me. And I couldn't.
so what do you do?
Did
Is
you-
like
did you
is
have
that
to go to-
surgical or?
No, they just set them. It's set it and forget it. Basically, you can't really do much about it. Ribs break very easily because they're essentially genetically designed to break. So
Right.
it's
like
you know.
shock absorbers sort of thing.
Did you get the
Yeah.
wonderful thing where you woke up multiple times a night screaming because you rolled over in your sleep?
Oh, I do it every night.
Loved that. Loved that part. That was great.
It sounds like fun.
But yeah, then
It
you said
really
you also
does.
got the flu. That must every time you coughed or sneezed, that must have been fucking terrible, man.
It was fucking agony, man. I couldn't even. I was strictly not watching funny movies because anytime I laughed, it was fucking excruciating, man. It just sucked. I'm fine now, but they still won't let me fight. They
You
want
should
me to
just
wear
watched
a-
SNL. That would keep you quiet all night, man.
Well,
You'd be
they
fine.
fucking lulled me to sleep.
Yeah. There was a question actually that came in here. If y'all watched Warfare, I'm going to go watch it on Sunday actually, so I'm looking forward to that. Quite excited about it. It looks quite a good film, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Was this one? Yeah. Ethan Housley. He sent a $50 super chat. I just wanted to put this in just before I forget about it. Hello, Drinker. I was wondering if you would consider watching and reviewing a show called House of David. The first season just concluded on Prime, and it's actually pretty good. I was not expecting a biblical show to be so well made. I've never even heard of that. I don't know who made it. What sort of network is it on? House of David. Yeah, I mean, if I knew more about it, I'd take a look. But yeah, right now, I don't know too much about it. I don't know if it's on something like
Angel
was it,
Studios. Or something.
yeah, I wonder if that seems like the kind of thing they would make actually. Potentially it is them, but yeah, I can take a look. But
Says it's on
anyway,
Prime. Says it's on Prime.
oh really?
Yeah,
Is it made by?
I'm
them,
not
or
sure.
is it
I'm not
showing
sure if
on-
it's made by them, but it says it's
Yeah.
on Prime. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, it's easy to get then. But yes, gentlemen. So you
Yeah,
guys have all
Amazon.
watched.
Sorry. I just looked there. It's Amazon Studios that actually made it. Sorry.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
That does not seem like the kind of thing that Amazon would make.
No.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, you gentlemen, you have all seen The Last of Us, the first episode of season 2. So
Yeah.
we are some of us here have played the games. We kind of know where this is all heading. Season 1 was okay. like it was tolerable. I think it was a pretty decent adaptation of some pretty challenging source material. And I think ultimately it did a lot for like video game adaptations to be taken seriously as like quite mature storytelling. But we knew what was coming. If you played the games, you knew that there was a cataclysm on the horizon, and it is now here. And the show is now having to delve into this stuff. And I mean, it seems pretty obvious that they are following it pretty closely. Like this is, as far as I can tell, pretty close to what happens in the games.
I was going to say, this feels like the incredibly unique situation in what you could call all of history of our like spheres judging media, because this is simultaneously an adaptation of something that nobody wants them to be faithful to, and a sequel to something that wasn't even fully faithful anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like this weird, like, what the fuck are you doing? But no, this is like the first time where I think everybody's agreed that the more faithful they are, the worse it will be, and it looks like they're staying pretty close. So adapt something I hate properly, and there's only one result you're gonna get, I guess.
It's a no-win situation, because if they change it, then they're going to be admitting defeat, and they will piss off fans of the Last of Us Part 2, however many there actually are. But if they stick with it and they're faithful to it, then they're going to piss off everyone else. And so, yeah, when you've got something so divisive as that, you can't win effectively.
Yeah, we're on the topic. I guess the fact that they're already doing the whole the big shock that happens in The Last of Us 2 when you play it, if you're a big fan of the first game's story, is that they've annihilated the chemistry and relationship between Joel and Ellie. And you're like, wait, what? That's like one of the first things. If you don't know about all the leaks, if you didn't know all the information that was going to be coming out, that's the first thing you'd see, and you'd be like, oh, wow, that was like my favorite part of the original game. Why is this happening? And obviously, before you even get your answers for that, which is how the game is designed, something happens that is one of the worst decisions that has been made in gaming storytelling in history. So, you know what I mean? It's
They do something slightly different here, in that they give you some answers to it, and they set up Abby as a character a little bit more, which you didn't get before, because she just kind of shows up and kills Joel and does her bad stuff, tease him up and so on. But in this, there's a setup to her, which is kind of interesting.
You talk about the sort of funeral scene.
Yes.
I mean, you do get a couple scenes with her when she's at Jackson before, but I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, but by that point, she's kind of set on her course, and you don't necessarily know why she's there, or what's motivating her, but now you do 100%. And so there's a little bit more there to build her up. And it's weird, because that couple of minutes I enjoyed more than the entire rest of the episode. Maybe it's just because the actress that plays Abby is actually quite good. I actually quite like her. I'm probably going to be rooting for Abby in all this. Weirdly,
I will be. I hated Ellie in The Last of Us 2, and they're going to adapt it apparently accurately to her personality. So she's going to be an annoying asshole throughout the whole thing, which is going to be really fun.
Well, this is what I want to ask, because we've got a breadth of experience here. Like, we've got people who have played the games and know the story really well, and are going to judge it on that. And then you got people like Dank here who don't know it, or don't have much experience with it, and are kind of coming into this fresh. And so I'm not really sure who I want to ask first. But I feel like for comedy value, I do want to ask Dankula what he thought of this episode.
I haven't played any of the original games, but I know the gist of the storyline because they've been around long enough, and I've seen enough memes and clips and stuff like that. But I get the gist of the actual games and stuff like that. So I went into it sort of fresh faced, and I was going to give it a fair shake. But I did hear all the complaints about season 1. And this one, it just kind of looks dog shit. And even though I know very little from the game, based on just clips and little memes that I've saw online, I can already tell it's nothing like the original. I think it was meant to be a huge tale about the story of the relationship between this man and his adoptive daughter and stuff like that. But now it's just got her acting like a cunty, retarded teenager and everything. Where it's teenage girls act like teenage girls, but they've taken it to a whole new level. Where it's is this man not saved your life on multiple occasions, and you're being a complete brat to him for literally no reason?
There is reasons for it.
There is reason. It's fucking annoying, the reason.
So far from what I could tell for that episode, it was, I'm a woman and I can do good stuff like the men can, and you keep getting involved. And that's what I got.
Yeah, so like that totally makes sense. Like if you like hadn't played the game, the bigger context to it is more like and like it's actually bad context, but it's like
Yeah.
imagine some group of people wanted to butcher you and sacrifice you because they believe they can extract something from you that will potentially help them, help their cause.
I know that part because it turned out
Yeah.
that Ellie was immune and they wanted to dissect her so that they could make a vaccine or something
Yeah,
like that.
with
Yeah.
very sketchy possibilities for success, and so he's
Yeah,
like, "No, I'm not going to let you do that," and
We're
just
talking, like,
fucking murder a child. So he
17
saves her.
reasons why what Joel did was right. And by the way, I'm pretty sure Neil Druckmann said recently that he thinks that Joel was right to do what he did.
You would never know that from Last of Us 2.
No, you would not know
Yeah,
that from Last of Us 2. So I don't know. People saying that's like cope because it doesn't sound right at all. Because the guy who made The Last of Us 2 clearly hated Joel's decision at the end of Last of Us 1.
Yeah. And so that's essentially it. She's like in the game, she's mad that he took that decision away from her. Ignoring the fact that the people who wanted to dissect her brain took that decision away from her because they basically just knocked her out with sedatives, and they were like, yeah, we're just going to like cut her head open and take this stuff out that we want to use, and that's it. They didn't give her a choice in the matter. So yeah, it felt very forced and contrived in the game, and it's not really fixed here either.
Right.
And it's not helped by the fact that Joel is kind of an annoying pussy in this as well. Like he's now going to therapy, so he can talk about his feelings with a therapist who hates him.
Well, so this is the problem, though. That is
Yeah.
somewhat accurate.
Sorry.
That's somewhat accurate to The Last of Us 2. He's crap in that. He's like soft as shit. And
Yeah.
Well, they had to knock him down to make people. They were trying to knock him down to make people not like him. So when he died, it wasn't as big of a deal. But it wasn't long enough that they knocked him down for that to happen. People hadn't forgotten what he did in the first game yet.
They definitely tried to lay the groundwork for this in season 1 of the show, in that Joel is portrayed as much more emotionally volatile, and he's more unpredictable. He's more vulnerable in a lot of ways. And when he makes the decision to save Ellie, it feels almost like a guy who's just flipped out and has just gone fully postal, rather than a man making a fairly rational decision of like, no, I'm not going to sacrifice this person that I care deeply about. And so you're setting up a Joel that we don't necessarily care as much about as we did in the game, which is already feeling a bit disingenuous.
I just I can't see myself pursuing the rest of this season unless you make it a fucking law that I have to. Because like
I'm gonna force you to suffer through it.
No, you did.
I forced Az to play the entire game just for my perverted pleasure.
So I make you watch Firefly and you make me watch this. What is this? It's not balanced. But like, you know, we're going to be getting rid of Joel in it could be episode 2 or 3 or 4. I think it's still going to be early because we seem to be following the storyline. We'll see. But the point I'm trying to make is that I can't stand watching this Ellie and this Dina in Seattle for like episode long shit. If you follow the story for the game, like that's going to be pure pain. Remember, Tommy isn't in the story pretty much. He does his own shit off screen. So unless they change that, unless they get shit tons of really long flashbacks, I don't know what the plan is, but like I don't think I want to watch this show. Like it's already confirmed this is going to be miserable.
What like Echo and Dark Hour, what's your impressions?
Well, I'm gonna
Echo, if you want to go first.
I'm going to stick my neck out here and say that it was a crappy episode of television that had me miserable by the end of it. I don't know any of the backstory or the game or any of that, so I'm just judging it purely on its own terms. And on its own terms, it was horrible. The interpersonal relationship that seems too irritatingly stroppy and puerile on the girl's side and too maudlin on Joel's side, that can be okay if you want to get like a gritty father-daughter quasi-relationship that's like fallen on hard times and has got tensions to it. That's okay, but you can also do that with economy and with a bit of pathos too, whereas this was just a pain in the ass to watch. So yeah, plus I'm also going to stick my neck out and say that Pedro Pascal is in one too many things these days.
Oh man, what a take, hot take right there.
That is
Culture now is
great
like,
hot.
Yeah,
Literally,
Culture
two
Now,
of our
there.
topics today are going to have him in it.
Yeah, exactly. Culture
Yeah.
Now is like the restaurant scene from Being John Malkovich, except with Pedro Pascal. That's what modern
Yeah.
contemporary culture is. Plus, there's a whole bunch of shit that I found pretty stupid and annoying and contrived. Like pipes are full of weeds and spindly thistles and things. So no potential issue here that might crop up in any kind of way. The men who are diffident and have no ironical control or steady comportment, almost as if they're written by pussyish men or by women somehow. Always awkwardly in two minds, like I want to be staunch, but I also am kind of pliantly holding out for reason. All the men always stuck in that kind of groove, which is annoying to watch.
Like,
Smart
I
ass
wanna just sit
undermining
next
from
to them.
Ellie and the girls. Lesbian teen relationship drama bollocks, almost like out of YA. And then some hilarious stuff like at the dance, you'd forgotten about Pedro Pascal, and there's like a little incident, and he just spawns out of nowhere and then hurls himself. flings
He
himself at this
teleports
guy.
into that shit.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
incredible.
impressive.
So by the end, I was 100% wanting the outside revenge-oriented people to win. I want them to win, or I want the fungus to win, but I don't really care about
Yeah. I'm rooting for the clickers.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, Dark
Nothing
Arrow.
cool in the episode. There was no suspense, nothing cool. I didn't feel like I was in a particularly interesting world. So yeah, pretty horrible.
Echo pretty much summed up everything about the episode as structurally that was wrong. I didn't play the second game. Basically, that was around the time where I was kind of just following all you guys, and everyone was like, "This is shit. Don't buy it." And I was like, "Okay, fine. I just listened," you know. And but I did play the first one, and I thought the first season, whereas it had its issues, did a pretty good job of summing up how they interacted with one another. The slow crawl toward being, connected to one another, because the game itself it's action, long sequences of speaking to each other to get the backstory. You really have to pay attention to that stuff, and the show did that really pretty well. And then here they just jump right into the hatred aspect. They don't they don't go into any of the reasoning really, like Mahler said. But one thing that I did love, and I think it's one of the most, you're gonna have to tell me if it happened in the game, because one of the things that happened with the first season that I always laughed at was this like glorification of the communist Wyoming settlements.
Yeah.
And then within 2 scenes, they explain how it wouldn't work in this episode. It's the first scene being when they go in, they're like, "Oh, this window is not working." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't have supplies. There's too many fucking people. We're running out of shit, basically." And she's like, "Well, you just got to make that work." And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, sure. I just have a big dial. I turn around, and everything gets fixed." And And then the next scene or 2 scenes later, when they show why universal healthcare wouldn't work, because he gets assigned a therapist who has no interest in helping him whatsoever and is just there for the weed. So it was just two like socialism fails in a matter of 2 scenes, and just nothing about Ellie is. Oh, go ahead.
No, just to answer your question, like that doesn't really come up in the game, and it's really hammered home like hard in the first season, where they are getting a tour of this town and explain like nobody really owns anything. It's like collective community ownership, and everyone has to chip in. And like Ellie even like looks around and goes, "This place actually works." And it's like just like this little advert for communism, like, yay. If everyone pitches in, communism really can work.
And then we're going to see what happens to every other communist society, where the thing's going to get overrun by outsiders.
Well, it's even more.
I think it's overrun by zombies. Like that always happens. Fucking zombie.
It's even more basic than that, where it's just like, okay, this is great when you're on a knife edge of survival, but you know what? If like you succeed and you start to rebuild society, that shit ain't gonna last for long, because pretty soon people are gonna want more than just the bare essentials of like staying alive. And like, what are you gonna do then? Yeah, some people are gonna be like, I'm working harder. I want to get more stuff. I want to have better things than the other people.
Did anyone else think it was a little bit strange that the therapist was charging? I thought, like, man, I would have thought.
Well, that's another thing I was going to say. She was charging, and it's supposed to be this communal thing. Like, why is she charging?
That's what I was going to say. I would have thought she would have given away free healthcare services, quote unquote, in exchange for, it's like, hey, I help the butcher with his fucking torment and PTSD. In exchange, he gives me lamb every Thursday, or some shit like that, and she does it for everybody.
Or Joel's case, it's like I help this guy to find some kind of emotional grounding so that he can do his job and kill the fucking horrifying monsters that are trying to eat my face. He helps to protect me and I help to keep him on an even keel. That's what we do because if the shit hits the fan, are you really going to go for a therapist to defend you? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I love that the therapist was drunk too. That's my favorite part about that. She was just.
I heartily endorse that idea.
I was going to say that was actually fair. I thought because they do try to just generally get across that because it's a year since her husband died or whatever, right?
Yeah, Joel killed him,
and it was Joel that killed him. So I could get drinking. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, the show tries to be clear that was unconventional, but it's post-apocalypse. I don't really give a shit. I think that would be more fun, actually, with the psychological sort of breakdown. It would be funny, but I just think it's strange that she charges. I would have thought in that environment, a lot of people would be like, bro, I have not got the money for a fucking therapist in the post-apocalypse, okay? Like, I'm a bit busy.
I think a therapist in the apocalypse is not very high up on, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I know, man, they're sitting there like, I could die any day. I need to go out and hunt for food with these deranged monsters going around that want to like eat my face. We're running out of supplies and stuff like that. But I get anxiety sometimes. I just get a bit anxious. Man, like it doesn't seem like a priority.
The funny part is they did like set up for that in the previous season. So I binged the first season before this came out, just because I hadn't remembered anything. And they do set up that he has like panic attacks and shit. That was a thing that they did.
Sure. I mean, but again, that's not like the Joel from the game because like the game was smart enough to recognize that like that kind of shit is going to get you killed. Okay, so if you have a panic attack in the middle of like these fucking horrifying monsters coming after you, you're just dead. You're not gonna make it. Okay.
The impression I got was they're just baiting the audience. They're just getting like things out of Joel easier with less exposition in other scenes. It's like the therapist; he can just fucking
pretty much
say a bunch of shit,
I think the range of issues would be quite narrow for a therapist in that situation. My family are all dead and they got killed by these zombie creatures. That's pretty much going to be the range of issues, I think. 90%.
Yeah, and it's like I'm worried that I'm going to get killed by these zombie creatures and turned into a fungus man.
I'm amused by the fact that she would be doing so badly that like when they come in for a raiding party, she would like run up to him and be like, "Everyone okay? Anyone anxious? Anyone sad? You want to talk about any of the things you just encountered?" They're just like, "Fuck off."
She would have she would basically have a really easy job because 97% of people that came in would have the same issue, and she'd just be like, "Okay, well, just pretend like the fungus doesn't exist, and just pretend that it's a very just you're in a happy place. You don't need to worry about that." And then occasionally you get Joel who comes in and is like, "My daughter's a bitch."
Yeah, I mean, imagine how boring and tedious that would be after, like, you've just been speaking to 10 people whose families are all dead, and then someone comes in.
It would actually probably be like it would be like an oasis in the desert. Yeah. She'd have heard the same thing 10 times in a row, and then she'd be like, "Oh, wait a minute, familial issues? Let's go."
Yeah,
come on.
She would end up being the other way around. Really good at it, though. Like,
I'm questioning my sexuality or my biological clock is ticking, being like, "Shut the fuck up."
Well, this is something I wanted to talk about as well, because there's like the games did this as well, right? Where you would get ridiculous scenes where like heavily pregnant women would be sent out on dangerous missions into hostile territory where they have to like, leap across dangerous gaps and like they have to fight enemies and stuff. Like, who is doing that? But it's like
that's Glasgow Housewives.
Yeah, well, sure, they are terrifying. They're more dangerous than the actual zombies, like the fungus zombies in this. But the point being, though, this is done with a very clear agenda of like, hey, we can prove that like women can do just as much as men, even when they're heavily pregnant and they're wearing high heels and whatever other stupid constraints you want to put on them. And it's just done from the point of view of, how can I put this? Like people who have never been in survival situations like that, people who like lived lives of absolute ease and luxury and just think like, oh yeah, if you just believe in something, then it just makes it happen. And that's lovely and it's a nice idea, but like unfortunately reality tends to hit you in the face with that a little bit.
There are too many women that think they can actually beat up a man.
Well, this is what I'm coming to. Like, there's scenes in this, like, and one of them is the fight scene, which we're going to talk about just in a second. The other one is like when Dina and Ellie are on a mission to scout out a local town. Right, they've got to recon the area. they're apparently under the command of like a woman who just lets them do whatever they want. Like she's got absolutely no control over them whatsoever, which I don't really understand how that chain of command works. She's like, come on, guys, come back. And they're like,
Yeah, that
no,
was
fuck
shit.
off. It's like, oh, well, I tried.
It was weird. When I was watching
it-
it, I said, like, I wish people would take this more seriously. And then that character said, you guys should take this more seriously. And I was like,
And then
what?
they laugh at him.
And then,
They
yeah,
laugh at him
I was
'cause
like, and
it's
then they
stupid.
proceed not to, basically. And it's like,
There's a
okay.
bit where like they've stopped outside the entrance to a building, right? And they know that there's zombies in there. There's at least 2 of them because they can hear them screaming and moaning and stuff. And they're like, this could be dangerous. And Ellie says to Dina, like, what are you gonna do? You gonna ask for the men to go in?
I
Yeah.
fucking
And I'm
hated
like-
that part.
And I'm like, yeah, you absolutely should ask for the men to go in because they're older than you. They're probably more experienced than you. They're physically stronger than you. They're more robust than you. And they're more expendable than you. You should definitely ask them to go in instead of you because you're a small child.
didn't
And you
understand-
absolutely cannot hold your own against
That's
something like
definitely
this.
what I want, and a close quarters combat situation with monsters, teenage girls. That's what I'm going to send that.
Might as
It
well
was
want 100
dumb.
pounders. That's the best weight class
Yeah.
right there.
This
You
is
want
this is the
100-pound
yeah
weight
this
class.
is the wonderful fantasy world that the games the second game exists in, and they 100% bring it to the fore here as well. And I just thought, no one's buying this, man. No one's buying what you're selling here.
I don't
Like,
understand because the game and certainly the first game and even the first season, they make it clear like clickers are terrifying. Remember like even Tess and Joel terrified
yeah,
basically. Like we
you want to avoid them. You don't want to
But
fight
now
them.
in that scene, I was like, so the goal of the writers, surely, as we all know, is to be like, we got to get the audience on the side of Ellie and Dina as soon as possible because the whole fucking season is going to be about those two. So it's like, oh, they're having fun, they're smiling, they're challenging each other. And it's like, wouldn't it have been way better if they were both terrified together and then they both have to admit that like this is beyond them or something, and then you get a series of circumstances like falling through the floor where they have to do something that's actually like somewhat terrifying because and clever, but no,
Yeah, like they get backed into a corner and it's like the mission goes wrong, like they're separated from the rest of the group, and they've got no option but to fight these things in order to get out, because then there's real tension, because if the characters are not scared, then why should the audience be scared?
Which the scene, it was annoying watching them plan to kill the clicker. They were treating it like it's an annoying drunk that they have to kick, basically. And it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed actually right off the bat, so they, the chain of command thing that you were mentioning, Drinker, was that she said you have 5 minutes. Now, she might not have been exactly timing it, but it was about 15 minutes screen time, and my guess is that it was at least a half hour like in world time. No one came in to check on them, not a single time, not once. It was just they were just left to their own devices out there, and then
it's one of those weird situations where it's like, I don't even really understand what you're hoping to achieve here. Like, you're there to just patrol and look for things that are unusual. So like, say you notice a whole bunch of clickers around, like, oh, okay, that's dangerous, we better like get reinforcements in here and we can come and clear them out. You're not there to get involved in this stuff, and you're not there to explore, because you've explored this area, presumably you've been there loads of times, you're just patrolling. So there's nothing more to be learned about the place. You're just there to look around, get the job done, and get out. That's it.
Plus, in this pristine, silent Wyoming day, the patrol group outside there don't hear screaming, fighting, the collapsing of a floor, someone screaming as they hurtle down into a thing.
Gunshots.
No, we'll just get them another
shotgun, might I add?
I don't know what the point of any of it was. It's just like, whoa, this is a thing that you remember from the game where you have to throw a glass bottle to distract a clicker, and then you can get in there and knife it and stuff. But it's like, this isn't the game. This is a TV show, and like, it's supposed to have an element of realism and believability to it, and you've just lost it, like, in favor of just introducing game mechanics into your show. I don't know what you're trying to give us.
Maybe the subtext is that the Ellie is like hormonally trying to like posture and show that she's cool and try to impress, like a kind of like erotic subtext that she wants to show her wares, as it were, and maybe that stuff is going on.
I think it would have worked even, as we said before, like, hey, what about a situation where they get separated from the group? They've got to like fight their way out because there's no other choice. There's no one to help them. And Ellie, she cares deeply about Dina, and it's like she's willing to risk her life to try and like protect Dina something like that. And it's like, okay, you get the sense then of, yeah, she cares a lot about her. She's willing to put her life on the line for this girl. That's fine. And there's stakes, there's tension. It means something instead of this pointless, like, little goofy comedy romp where it's like, hey, let's just kill a bunch of clickers because it's easy and it's fun. Like,
Yeah,
what are we getting out of this? And then there's this other weird thing where she gets bit right in the stomach. And it's like, okay, so she's got bite marks there. We know it can't affect her because she's like immune to it. So she, earlier in the episode, she had shown that she doesn't care if people know that she's immune because she's shouting it out. She's like, yeah, I'm immune. Like, this is fine. But then when she actually gets bitten, she has to cut her stomach to make it look like just a wound of some sort, like a stab wound or something, to hide the fact that she's been bitten and that she's immune. So which is it? Does she want people to know or doesn't she? Why is the change?
Those famous horseshoe-shaped knives that go into people. Those are that's exactly what you got stabbed with.
It's just,
Yeah,
I don't know
What
what the
happened
show's
to
going
the
to tell
catching
us.
fungus?
Well, I mean, I got the impression she was kind of trying to troll Tommy. She doesn't actually want people to know, but she figured they were alone, so she could fuck around with him.
I mean, potentially, but like, you know,
I
there's
was
always the
more
chance,
so
I
just
suppose.
struck by how fucking stupid she was in that whole sequence in the mall or the shopping whatever supermarket. And I actually felt kind of bad for the work that was put into making that stalker, right? Like the person trying to contort, and then all the makeup and the sort of atmosphere they're trying to get, and you have it crawling around a corner doing the breaths and stuff, and then it just cuts to Elle and she's like, "Come at me, motherfucker," or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know, because I can't really feel the like fear at all if the main character is like, "Oh, I'm gonna get," she's like goofy with a shotgun. I was just like,
Bella Ramsey's
Again,
face. It's like, you know, there
That's
was
like
that,
the intro to a whole new section. It's like, let's talk about her face.
yeah, but
I can't
remember
go
when there
off
was that Renaissance sculpture face, which famously got botched because they tried to clean it and they got scrubbed clean and looked like, and that's kind of what evokes for me when I see her face. It's weirdly smooth, strange, featureless almost.
I don't really like to make comments on people, like especially like younger people. Well, I mean, now she's older now, but like she was a kid, a lot of people made fun of her. But yeah, she does kind of have a von Habsburg look to her with the chin and stuff.
It's the Habsburg jaw.
She looks like her dad was that artist mock-up of what a human being would have to look like to survive a car crash. Like, does everybody remember that picture? Like, that's what, yeah, I'm convinced that's her dad.
So the show began with the 5'2" Bella Ramsey out-muscling and overpowering a 6'4" big unit of guy using a legs around the head technique I haven't seen since Priss from Blade Runner.
Oh, I have pictures. I have pictures. Don't worry. I have Echo. I got pictures.
I had to.
I'll load them up for you, Drinker. You can show them whenever.
Hell yeah.
I tell you what. Do we want to see the original clip first so that we can then judge it based on these images, or like what's the best way? Because Darker, you're our resident martial arts.
So yeah,
expert.
I have 16 years of jiu-jitsu experience, so I will have I can explain what's sort of going on.
I was going to say, for the record, right, he'll be able to explain it very well, but I don't think anybody needs it explained.
No, you don't need an explanation. I mean, in fairness, it does. I will be as fair as I can, and anybody who's seen one of my fight breakdowns will know that I do try to make it as fair as possible. But some of the stuff makes no sense. One transition does make sense, I will say that, but it wouldn't make sense for her body weight. So I will do my best to make sense of it and be objective.
Is it better to show the original clip and then we can then show how it should be done, or should we show the theory behind it and then show what they do?
Yeah, show the clip and then I'll kind of say. I know you got to go in like segments of 9 seconds. So.
Yeah, I'll try and break it up a little bit. So, yeah, this is our little intro to Ellie to prove that she's a real tough chick.
5 years later. Okay, right there, she's basically done. There's no coming back from that. She just got thrown on her face.
I kind of think if you got your opponent face down on the ground, you just have to
and remember
their back or something, and they're
he
done.
Also apparently punched her square in the nose as well. But they have the whole I pulled my punch. All right. right?
I do love that he
Yeah.
says you pulled your punch. Like, yeah, no shit. He
Obviously, because you would take your head off
I mean,
if he gave you a full punch.
Like this guy, yeah, if he punched you full on, like your head would be concave.
This
Yeah,
is
like,
even like
he's a big guy as well. Like even me, if that guy hit me full force right in the face, my nose and my teeth are gone.
So,
like,
for context, I looked up the actor. He has an MMA record. He has he's 2-0 amateur MMA record. He's 6'3" or 4", depending on which organization was measuring him.
I can't believe he allowed himself to be bitched like this. It's like,
consistently
fucking hell.
240 pounds, no matter where I found his statistics. So
Let's see if I can like get a shot of him. Yeah, that's
not
a
a
big
small
guy
man.
right there.
Yeah.
well, you talk about weight class. He's basically just like 3 more people compared to her.
yeah, it's not even at this point. It's not weight class. It's like quite literally, she's 5'1", and I'm gonna guess 100 pounds, maybe less, because you do see when she stitches herself, she's very skinny. She has like no body fat, so
He
she
looks
might
like he
even be
could
less
eat
than
her.
100 pounds. First of all, I don't even know how that transition happened. She went from a blast double to a single leg takedown. Makes no sense to me whatsoever because he basically just threw her to the side.
What this is kind of getting into that territory of like was it Terminator Salvation when the Terminator's fighting John Connor and instead of just like grabbing his skull and squishing it, it like just keeps throwing him around the room.
Mhm.
It's like
I don't know what it is with Hollywood, but they think that's such a satisfying answer to an enormous creature grabs a person that they need to kill and just tosses them again and again and again.
Yeah.
So now he is supposed to be holding back. So when you do go, this is like a training exercise. You're supposed to do what's called scaling or let the person work, but you're also not supposed to let them unrealistically think that they can do something. It doesn't. That's besides the point.
because yeah, the show tries to have it both ways by the end, where it's like she beats him and gets him to tap out, like to the point where he's actually like scared.
Yeah.
But then like the other dude comes in and he's like, well, he pulled his punches and he kind of just like was going easy on you. And she's like, never do that again. And he's like, okay, I'm sorry. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to take from this? Is it that like she's overconfident and she's just been allowed to, win easy fights that are fixed in her favor? Or is it like, people are actually afraid of her because she's really dangerous and she's working her way up? I don't really know.
It's supposed to
It's
give the
trying to do
impression that she gives him a look, or both of the guys a look, to say we're basically on level, even terms now. In terms of what we're
Yeah, I think that's what they want you to think, and it's like, oh, it's just so cute. So what's happening here?
So honestly, she's just trying to kick at him, and he's just using it.
Well,
So if he was actually a trained fighter, this would have not been an issue at all. I'm
You could just
guessing that
throw
he's
her at
supposed
this
to-
point.
Well,
Like,
yeah, because if you've
hard.
got someone by their feet, like you can just swing them around the room until their head connects with a pillar. And
I mean, she's light, so yeah, he probably could. Now, it is incredibly hard to actually hold a person from their legs as soon as they start flailing them around like that, what we would call leg circles. But she's not really doing it technically, so he would probably have a good chance of holding on.
let's see. What's he?
That is
why
called
he
a
doing
grape
this?
choke. That's called a grape choke. I'm going to censor it so we don't get this, but that's what that's called.
That term's banned in jiu-jitsu now, apparently.
Yeah, And now they call they a lot of people who have been doing it for a long time call it that. So yeah, he
So is it
actually-
literally just I'm going to grab you by the throat and just hold on
yeah,
until you
it's
pass
actually
out?
one of the worst choke attempts you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Now,
Because it does
he's
feel
too
bad
big
because
for her
like,
to pick up.
if you grab someone by the
we get
throat,
told to call it the Homer Simpson instead. We get told to call it that.
well, if you grab them like that, right, and you leave their arms free, right, they can grab you around the
Armbar.
face, they can
You
gouge
would
your
have to
eyes or
get
whatever,
armbarred
like they can do all
immediately
kinds of
from
things.
somebody.
Yeah.
So that like literally the thing that you would go for is an armbar right off of that because their arm is completely extended and there's nothing stopping them from basically taking it.
Wouldn't it be better to just like
cheap.
ground and pound? Like if you got someone on the ground like that.
Oh, you're
it's
talking
just
about the person on top. You're talking about the
Yeah,
definitely.
sorry.
You can start punching them. Definitely. There's no reason to do this at all.
Here we go.
Okay,
no,
so
That
She
left
would not-
arm.
strength
what
to
is it
do it.
doing?
Right. See, he could very easily just get his hand in there with his strength and disconnect those
it
legs.
doesn't
like,
need to do
easily.
that.
Yeah.
Dankula does not need to do that. If anybody saw, it was Ricardo Arona versus Rampage Jackson in Pride back in like the early 2000s. He literally picks him up. Ricardo Arona was a 250-pound man who was a
You can
world-class
tell from looking at
jiu-jitsu
this.
player.
He can
He
pick her up.
picked him up and slammed him so hard that he knocked him out. That is all he would need to do here. However, that being said, there is no choke here. This is actually she's doing nothing. I actually have a picture of myself doing something very similar. If you want to show it, Drinker.
Yeah, let's see what
Yes.
we got here.
I
What, is
censored
that,
it
is
for
that the one
people.
that you showed there?
Yes, yeah. This is the old. This is from 2009. I had to go back to this one. And as you can see, the choke is not actually there. I'm having to work. Now, I censored this for the innocent, and Bella Ramsey is definitely, her head is enormous, so I made sure that it made. But basically, there's no choke there. I do have one later on that will show how. I mean, I could go get it right now. How to finish the choke. Hold on, let me just get that for you. So, in the interest of fairness, I censored myself in this one.
All right, let's see.
So that is actually how you finish a triangle choke. You need to get the person's weight down. You need to get their neck down. And if they're far up above you like that, you can't. There's no choke. You're just trying to choke with basically your ankles, your calves.
Yeah, so you're trying to get one of their arms locked in, like
Yes. So you need
right
to have it
next to their
across
head between
the
your
neck.
legs.
So it needs to be like this. So this right here will cut off this carotid artery. Your leg will cut off the other one, as you can see. And
Yeah.
she's doing absolutely nothing to him in that clip, just so you're aware. I did this for everybody. I thought it would be really funny. So you know.
Let's see. We'll see how it plays out.
So he's struggling. Go.
Look at him struggling.
It's ridiculous.
It's not.
Fuck off.
It's not. Like, I
Stupid.
don't mean to be weird around, right? But like my girlfriend's about the same size as her. You can just literally, you can just pick them up and move them. Right? It takes nothing. He is massive. He could lift 4 of her easily.
He's quite,
yeah.
It looks
man,
pretty. It
I'm
looks
in
pretty
so much
chill even in
trouble.
that shot there.
He's looking at his agent. He's looking at his
Yeah.
agent. Thinking, when's the check clearing for this shit?
Well, I actually got that impression watching him. He was like, "So I lose here, okay?" And you'd think,
Yeah.
you would have been able
I wouldn't
to
be
tell
shocked if he
them.
choreographed this actually.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he had told them this wouldn't work, and they said that's fine. This is storytelling. This is TV. No one's going to care as long as.
Yeah, like I guess Dark Hour, you could probably answer this. Like, is there a way you could do a fight scene like this
Where
and
she
make
wins.
it and make it somewhat plausible? Like,
She'd have to get on his back. She'd have to get on his back. That's
Right.
the only way. So when you get on someone's back, you essentially, I mean, you don't null and void the size difference, but what you are doing is you are now taking yourself out of the visual ability. So now you can kind of do weird things. Also, a rear naked choke generally doesn't really matter how big the person is. You can just grab onto it and just go, however you want to. But this is, I always instruct people when I teach triangles that if the person has really wide shoulders, significantly larger than you, you probably shouldn't do it.
Isn't the way to do this scene obviously is that she loses, but she learns something. Like
yes,
because
that would actually probably be the smartest way to do it.
But
surely
that's not
because
what
like
we
she's
get.
supposed to be. This is like training, and he's like a not to speak a veteran, but he's obviously if he's the guy that has to take on everybody, why the fuck would Ellie be able to beat him?
She wouldn't be.
It's just
Yeah.
like it's like storytelling opportunities again wasted.
He's
weird
been-
shit.
Yeah, I mean, I could get a
massive
kind of
hotel
like Rocky
Yeah.
3 scenario where it's like everyone's going easy on her and like she's picking up a bunch of easy wins and like it fuels this like sense of self-confidence that gets absolutely destroyed when she comes up against a real enemy. But I don't
is
get the
not
impression we're going to do anything
impossible.
like this here.
Let me put it this way. So I'm going to be fair. It is not impossible for a significantly smaller person to tap out a larger person. That is actually one of the principles of any kind of submission grappling art: judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, whatever one you go with. That being said, this person clearly has experience because he's doing things that are proper, and she's so much more. It would need to be. She would need to do very specific things she's not doing.
If you did this maneuver with a clicker, wouldn't its head just turn into a pop into a
That was
squelching
another thing I
queue.
was thinking about, actually, Echo, is what is the fucking point of even doing this? Clickers don't care about pain.
Yeah.
Like, they
like
can't be
you
choked
just-
unconscious. They're
I
A
don't know why,
shotgun
I
is just going
get
to
this
deal with
image
them
in my
pretty
head,
easily.
I just get this image in my head of a clicker going like
It's hurting my shoulder too much, bro.
No, I
Picture the
will
clicker
say
being like,
this.
"Oh no, you got me! Oh, here I go, I'm falling down."
I will say this: the transition she's about to do is actually a legitimate transition that I teach very often. It's so this submission that a lot of people, I noticed a couple people in the chat have said she does something similar to a Kimura. It's called an omoplata, is actually what she does. She just does it very badly.
Let's see it. Wait, so what happened there? Like his arm just kind of slid out of her grip.
So what she would do is so a lot of people know the Kimura lock from years of watching UFC, but the omoplata is kind of like a Kimura lock with the legs. Now she would be putting a lot of pressure on his shoulder. Now he would probably be able to just be able to sit back. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to do on someone that's significantly larger than you, which is one of the reasons I don't teach it, because it often turns into just a sweep. You do it and you get on top. A sweep is when you get on top. Now, her legs are in the worst possible position. She doesn't actually have any lock on it. Her legs should kind of be like this, like that, like facing away from him. And they're just straight forward. So she can't actually get the leverage she needs by going forward because her legs are in the way.
Plus, his wrist was just resting limply on her neck for about 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, all he needs to do is really buck back, and
you can roll
or she'll
forward as
go
well.
with the elbow and just like try and strike something, because like
no, honestly that actually would not be realistic. If you tried to elbow her, you would actually lock up your shoulder more. She wouldn't have enough weight to take him over. That's really the problem. It's whether or not the technique works is irrelevant, because her weight would have never taken him over. He outweighs her by more than a body weight, a body mass and a half.
Let's see.
Okay, Ellie.
Okay, actually, Drinker, can you go back like 3 seconds to where you saw how her legs were forward?
Ellie.
See how her legs are like straight forward? For her to get the pressure to actually do this, her arms are not useful here, really. She would need to push her body forward and essentially use her like chest and rib area to push the arm forward. That's how that lock would work. She's really not doing much there. If she was pushing directly down on his wrist, then it would like this, like a gooseneck style. Then it would actually lock, but she's not doing that. She's just kind of hugging his arm. It's not doing shit. See right there how her legs are forward. She can't get the forward pressure. She would have to essentially what we call windshield wiper her legs across, which is that both of her legs would be facing away from his body, and that way she could bring her body forward to get the pressure downward.
Yeah, I mean,
I can find a picture of it so that way people could see. Hold on.
No, it's fair. I think we kind of get what you're saying, but yeah.
Sorry, I go kind when it comes to grappling, I go kind of a little too in depth sometimes.
Well, I think this whole section is just an interesting example of like you could have, as Mauler pointed out, done something interesting character-wise, where she just gets completely dominated by someone who's way bigger and stronger than her, but like maybe learns a lesson about like how to not just go to toe-to-toe with someone. Like you've got to be smarter than that when you're not as strong as them. Okay, cool. That's something that she can apply to like future confrontations. Or, maybe she's struggling against this guy, but like she perseveres and maybe like brings it to like a draw or something like that. Again, just through like dogged perseverance, there's something there. But like with this, it's like she just kind of scores an easy victory, and now she's like the ultimate badass, and we're just, I guess, expected to believe that.
Or if she was flailing around wildly, like in a real like tempest, so it's suggesting to the audience that she's got a wildness in her, which is a kind of cool thing you can develop later on, or just have there residing, and that the onus is on him, where it's uncomfortable and difficult for him to have this flailing person who won't give up. So that would be interesting character development too.
Yeah, I think because you know, there's potentially something quite cool you could do there, where like he easily beats her, but like she doesn't sort of just submit and take the L. She keeps getting up and going again, to the point where he actually becomes a bit uncomfortable with it. You
Yeah.
know, like, oh, I don't want to actually be beating up a girl here. That's weird, and I don't like it. But she's determined to keep going. Like that's actually quite cool. You could do something interesting with that.
Realistically, what they would be using these kind of techniques for is to get out from underneath. Like if a clicker attacked them and got on top of them, is trying to bite them, you know, is to get away from them. That way, because they have guns, they want to get some distance, you know. That's the whole point. There's no reason for her to be trying to tap out a clicker. They don't feel regular pain. It's you know.
So yeah, I mean, like you could even have a callback.
Wait, I do like food as well. Yes, I am also a food critic. I do like food.
Yeah.
I
Like
haven't
the
eaten
earlier
in about 10 years. So.
If we had that earlier scenario, then you can have a callback where she's an actual real situation, and then she keeps flailing and won't give up, and then it calls back to that. But they don't really have that kind of stuff going on.
I was going to say as well, like one thing I was deeply disappointed by this show is it doesn't have the bigot sandwiches in it. Which for me was one of the true iconic moments in gaming, where Ellie gets to call that one out. But they do get the weird dance scene where Joel just like teleports in and like rugby tackles this dude into the next fucking world. And I don't even know what the show was trying to tell us there, because it's like all I can get from this is like two girls kiss. Old white guy gets mad about it and is bad, and then other old white guy like beats him up, but he's also bad because he's an old white guy, and he gets chastised by young lesbian girl, and then everyone just kind of goes their separate ways. And like, I don't know, man, they were really proud of that scene from the games, but I never really understood what they were trying to give us from it. I never understood what we're supposed to draw from it, and the TV show is even more confused because it's so clunky now.
Just the weird tonal whiplash. It goes from a scene of subdued, unspoken tensions, long lingering looks, I'll replace those guitar strings, to Benny Hill rugby tackle, and then back to on the porch, long lingering tense look. Such a weird little oh.
It's a strange one. Yeah, and like the relationship between Dina and Ellie, again, like that whole section of the game is a real slog to get through, because it's like easily 2, 3, 4 hours of just like teen dramas, interpersonal crap, like soap opera style relationships. Like, you know, Dina's bisexual, but she's into Ellie now, but she's also pregnant from this other guy who like they had an on-off relationship with, but he's kind of cool with like, you know, exploring other things with other people. And it's like, I don't care about this. This stuff is not interesting in this world of brutal life or death survival decisions. Like
it fucking
doesn't
hilarious. That guy Jesse, right? Isn't that his name? I
think it's Jesse.
Yeah.
Everyone just dies. Everyone just gets killed randomly throughout this.
Yeah, nothing meaningful. I mean, I was about to suggest in my head. I was like, "How stupid!" That spoilers, but I was just like, because I don't think Dagula would know. But
who fucking cares? Like,
no, I don't think anyone should. It's horrible. But if they follow the game, they leave and he ends up trying to follow them. He has like one mission with Ellie. He comes back with her to some place, and he just gets shot in the head, and he's dead.
Yep. Tommy gets shot in the head, and he's like retarded from that point onwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
Owen gets shot in the head as well. He's just killed.
Just everybody gets shot in the head.
Well, I think people who get shot in the head are satisfying. That guy who spat on Joel's corpse gets shot in the head. That was great.
I mean, I think Echo pointed this out as well. Like, the guys are all weirdly diffident about everything. Like, they just kind of like go along with whatever the girls say. Like, they've always got this weirdly submissive sort of posture and like personality about them, where it's like, oh, a girl raised her voice. Like, well, I know she's not fucking around now. Better just pipe down and let her do whatever she wants, even though it's going to probably get me killed. Like, don't want to stand up for myself.
You never have a sense that anyone's masculinity is like inherent or intrinsic. It feels like it's an adopted persona that they have to be staunch, and then they sort of get diffident about it, and it's just annoying to watch.
I'm, and this is the thing. Like, I hate to be one of those like guys where where I'm just like, oh, dudes would just fucking rule in a situation like this. But if I had to be brutally honest, like in this world of survival, and it really comes down to who's got the biggest muscles and who's got the biggest guns and the willingness to use them. Teenage girls who weigh like 100 pounds soaking wet are probably not going to be the most intimidating figures that you're going to get behind in that kind of situation. And so I hate to say it, but like that, none of this just works. None of this rings true. Everyone knows this is not how the world would play out if this situation was ever like made real. And
There's a reason
people
why
like
weight
Dina,
classes
people like Ellie, where it's like, I want to express my sexuality, and pretty much the reaction would be, cool, back to the breeding farm with you. We're gonna like, go and do the actual hunting and killing and defending, and you can just go and do the thing that you're made for. Like, and that's not how I'm saying it should be, but I'm saying that's how it probably would end up out of sheer necessity.
That's probably the way it would be. Just sorry,
Ellie's
darling,
behavior.
There's no cops anymore.
Yeah.
Like Ellie's behavior would be, you have to be on the wall because we need to know where you are, because there's a chain of command and we have to be able to account for people. So therefore you're getting punished for this. That's what the hierarchy would be in any ordinary circumstances.
Yeah. Particularly someone like her who is immune. Like she is the highest of high value targets. Like you're not getting anywhere near the front line, because even if you're immune to being bitten, you can still be killed by a clicker. You can still be eaten. You can still be like shot or whatever. We can't have you anywhere near that. You are going to stay back there. Ideally, we're going to like make offspring from you who are also immune from this, and that's going to give us way more like fail safes and options and stuff. We need that from you. You're not going to be anywhere near the front line. But like, again, this is written by retards who just want to have their strong girl boss moments, and that's what you end up with.
Irony, Drinker, is that would actually be a better route to go with trying to immunize the human race from the cordyceps. Yeah,
Cordyceps.
Cordyceps, yeah, sorry. Because they you have this one person who has proven to be immune. You tear them apart, you cut them up, you do all this stuff, and now we can't find the cure. We have lost our only sample. There's no other sample that we have found. So for her to actually kind of have children, maybe do some research on the placenta or something, that would be a better route to go before coming to this final thought process of, we got to dissect her brain just in case there might be something in there we don't know.
Yeah.
She should understand her own value as well. Like, obviously, like, yeah, okay, she's an arrogant teenager, but she knows that basically the cure and the key to saving the human race is her. There's nobody else that's immune, and she's just putting herself in danger and potentially fucking up the future of the human race because she wants to be a girl boss.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's ultimately what it comes down to. Is, well, Neil Druckmann wants her to be a girl boss, and so that's what you end up with. And
kudos to Pedro Pascal's glasses work in this episode. Within the space of one scene, he can take his glasses off, look at something, put his glasses back on again, look over his glasses at someone, pinch his nose just above where his glasses were, and then take his glasses off again and put them back on again. Impressive.
It's kind of like the whole scary movie thing where it's like you've got to make the geeky girl look beautiful, and like you just take her glasses off and like suddenly she's absolutely hot, but like she also has no like vision deficits as a result of losing her glasses. It's just sure, okay.
It's also been 25 years and he still looks the same as he did in the first scene of the show.
I think everyone would probably agree at this point that like Pedro Pascal is a bad bit of casting for Joel. Bella Ramsey is a terrible bit of casting for Ellie. This show is not well served by its actors. And it's not that I want to say that Pedro Pascal is a bad actor. He's good, but like he can't play everyone. And I think he's miscast as Joel. Bella Ramsey was terribly cast as Ellie. She cannot fucking act. She's got the range of Gal Gadot.
I don't agree on that
being
front,
hot.
but she wasn't good in this episode. I still stand by. There
There
are
was-
plenty of examples in season one.
Dude, you're gonna eat those words, and
What do you
you're
think?
gonna
I
eat
can't-
them a
there
little
was-
bit
I
more
know,
with
I agree
every
with
fucking
Mauler.
Brinker, I
episode.
can't eat the words because I said the same thing about Brie Larson. She acted in Room. She was shit in Captain
Mhm.
Marvel. She was shit in the Marvel. And it's like, no matter how many films
What was
you make
Bella
me
Ramsey
watch,
good in?
lost for season 1.
No, she
There
wasn't.
She was.
There was episodes where she
wasn't.
did pretty well.
I can
No.
show you the scenes again. I will actually do this if you want to.
If you want to show me the scenes where she like hatchets a guy to death while screaming and covered in blood, that's not acting. Any
I
of
don't
us,
even- what are you
anyone on
talking
this
about?
panel could do that.
What are you-
Acting is
what
a
are you-
nuance.
What are you talking about? Like that could be acted badly or well. Give Gal Gadot the
Bullshit.
same challenge, she won't do
Bullshit.
it well. What are you talking
The-
about?
No, the mark of a good actor is in the nuance of their performance, the subtlety,
I
the
didn't
ability
know.
to convey a lot of emotion with very
Any
little.
scene,
right?
any scene, an actor can do well or shit.
No,
Any
but
scene.
but any scene, like certain scenes are a lot easier, right? If you took any of us and said like, right, I'm going to splatter you with blood, and I just want you to scream and pretend like you're fucking hacking a guy's head off,
There are people who can
we
do
could
that badly.
probably do it, and it's probably like, it'd be varying degrees of good, but whatever. But
Besides,
if
that's
you
one
wait,
scene,
but
even
no,
if-
but if you said like, I want you to sit just at a table and deliver a monologue to someone, right? You don't have any props to play with, you don't have any like gore effects, or you don't have to scream it, you don't have to do any of that, but you have to do it with the subtleties of your performance and the gravitas that you convey. None of us could do it. That's the mark of a good actor.
I don't even.
Bella
this isn't
Ramsey
even-
doesn't have it.
I don't. You keep referencing that one hatchet scene. That's like one of many. The first one I would go to, the first time she kills somebody, or the scene where Sam dies. I was actually kind of impressed with her reaction to it. It's not even in the game, which I don't necessarily consider an upgrade. It's just that they show her reaction, and she did a really good
her
job.
reaction in that scene, I would consider like just barely acceptable. It's just look shocked. That's it.
No, it's more than that. It's definitely more nuanced than that. It's not just looks shocked.
I'm
Yeah.
overruling you on this one, Muller. Sorry, you're
You can
done.
veto all you want, but it's obvious the hate boner people have for this girl has gone through the fucking stratosphere, and I will not accept that she did terrible in season 1. That's not true.
I will not. Well, basically, I will not accept that she's a good actor.
Don't even bother,
And,
Echo. Just let them go. They're gonna go for another 10 minutes. Don't worry.
Mhm.
No, I'm
she
just saying,
she
like,
wasn't bad.
This
She was
episode
just
gave her. This episode gave her, particularly Bella Ramsey, who is now like what 3-4 years older, a lot more experience, a lot more time to mature as a performer. This gave her opportunities to do stuff as an actress, and she absolutely fucked it at every stage.
I didn't think she was
there
good
was-
in this episode, but I know that she's capable of doing better. This is what I've said for Brie Larson for years. They've not given her anything. And
I
if that's what
I
they choose
agree
to
with
do, then
Muller
so
on
be
this.
it.
There was episodes in the first season, having binged it recently. I'm not saying she was stellar, like she wasn't amazing, but there was competent scenes where she acted just fine in the walk, like when they're walking and just talking to each other, her reactions. I can see that. It definitely has become a situation where
Oh shit!
oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh wait.
Drinker, you're losing. You're mad with power.
Shit.
Vetoing
Okay,
people all
so
over the place.
what may have happened there is like he had a bunch of images that he had that was cluttering up the backstage area, and I tried to get rid of one of them, and I think it may have just got rid of everything that he put in. There we go. He's back.
did you kick me?
I did not. I kicked.
I think you kicked me. I think I was agreeing with Mahler and you kicked me. I think that's what happened. No, but in all seriousness, no, that was definitely some sort of weird StreamYard thing. But anyway, like I was saying, there was scenes in the first season where, like, because it's very driven by their interactions, and there were times where she did really well. Not like, I mean, it wasn't award winning. I'm glad I came back. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry for the what happened there. But yeah, for her, she's not the worst actress I've ever seen. Where she looks weird, yes. We can all agree with that part. But like, she's not the worst actress I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I wouldn't accept saying she's bad, but I also not sure I'd call her good. I'd say she's somewhere in between.
Yeah, in the season 1, she was serviceable, functional, practical.
The thing
she
is,
was
I got
perfectly
it.
fine.
she's going to be playing asshole Ellie throughout season 2, so I guess we're not going to be seeing much nuance.
I think the problem as well is like she's supposed to be playing 19-year-old Ellie, and she still looks 12.
I hugely agree. They had the chance to recast her. and I think it actually would have helped because it would really emphasize how much time has passed and the maturity of the character, sort of thing. I think the audience would have gotten over a recast pretty quickly. I can't. It's not my idea, but ever since I saw it, I can't separate how good of an idea it was. It's the girl from Alien Romulus, Kaylee Spaney.
Kaylee Spaney, yeah.
They should have gotten her for it. She would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And she's the perfect,
Yeah.
maybe not the perfect age as the actress, but the perfect look of age, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and because this is the thing, like Bella Ramsey is actually slightly older than Millie Bobby Brown. And
Yeah, I
holy
saw that
fuck,
thing you
you
said,
could
yeah.
you could not pick two actresses who look
Well, so-
different, like so further apart age-wise.
I was
Yeah.
particularly struck when they're outside of the supermarket and they're laughing at the barbecue joke or whatever. I was like, man, this looks like two children that are about to raid like,
Yeah.
a zombie-ridden supermarket. This doesn't make any sense.
They even giggle like little girls. It's like it's uncanny.
But isn't it part of her role that she's supposed to be kind of unlikable, angsty, teenagey most of the time, but you're supposed to kind of inform that or speckle that with a little bits of pathos and likability here or there, or little glimmers of
think-
things that make you, want to root for her or like her a bit more, but she can't get that. It's a very flat.
They think they're doing that. They thought they did that in the game too. They
So
did not.
in the
That's where it
game, they
falls
do it a
down.
little bit better. In the game, they do it a little bit better, and they did it not so terribly in the first. But the problem is we're 5 years ahead of that now. We've progressed 5 years, so we shouldn't have to. She should be over that shit now.
Oh well. Yeah, I feel like we would maxed out what we can say about fucking Last of Us at this point. But you know what? Another video game adaptation that I know you guys were super excited to see was the Tomb Raider TV show that was going to be written by Phoebe Waller-Bridge for Amazon. And they paid a lot of money to get Phoebe Waller-Bridge on board for this. They signed a $20 million contract for her. I think it was for 3 or 4 years. That expired without her actually producing any scripts or anything that was actually worth doing anything with. But Jennifer Solke, who at the time was the head of Amazon Studios, saw fit to renew her contract for another $20 million. And still nothing has been produced. And now that Solke's out, the headlines that are hitting the ground now are basically that the Tomb Raider series is dead after tens of millions have been spent in development costs and no scripts have ever actually been produced from it. Wow.
What a
I mean,
shame.
that's impressive to have spent
We
that
could all
much
do
money and
this.
produced so little.
Is Amazon
It's a great
just
job.
USA'd, but for the film industry? Is that what it is?
Basically, yeah. I mean, when you've got more money than sense, and all this money that they're losing on like shit projects and terrible like development cycles and stuff, like they make that back in like a few hours from their online shopping section. So they don't have to care too much about it. But man, as an actual pipeline for developing good content, it is terrible.
Drinker, as you said that, something got delivered to my house. As you said, like they get their money back. I
That's
got
the
a
thing, like,
message.
the online shopping aspect of it is great, but like if the thing is like it should be an easy win. Like how can you spend years developing scripts for a Tomb Raider TV show
Exactly,
and
yeah.
not come up with anything? I don't know. Like maybe there was like 10 games that have been produced that would be worth turning into scripts. It's not difficult.
This was my thought. How can you not assemble a Tomb Raider show? Like, how does a superficial premise like that become your angsty creative
Like-
white whale that needs 2 writers' rooms to be?
Let's do
excavated, whatever?
Indiana Jones, but make him a hot woman with big tits in hot pants and like a bikini top. Easy. How
I don't know. I don't know how to find the essence of Tomb Raider. The first writers weren't striking at the anguish and existential blazing in my soul aesthetically, so we need to keep going. Like, what are you in pursuit of? So weird.
I mean, I
years, they
hate to
had the
say this, but
perfect
like
actors.
you almost need to get a bunch of horny teenagers to write the script
Yeah.
for Tomb Raider, the TV show, because that's what people want.
It's just
Ultimately, that's what made the game
big
so
boobies, the
insanely-
movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get Sydney Sweeney cast in it, give her a dark wig, and like
Mhm.
perfect.
Well,
I
Because
had
that's
for
all people
years.
want.
Yes, one chasing
Haley
down the
Atwell
people
would have been the
people.
perfect one.
Yeah.
Who, sorry?
Fleabag was
But
10
Haley
years ago.
Atwell for years would have been the
Yes.
perfect.
Yeah.
If they would have got her like 10 years ago.
That would have been
Yeah,
cool.
speaking of 10 years ago, Fleabag was 10 years ago. So there's an increasingly sad dynamic. A Phoebe Waller-Bridge, is going to be involved in Indiana Jones, star of Fleabag. And then 5 years goes by and, Phoebe Waller-Jones from Fleabag from 10 years ago
I
is helming
don't-
Tomb Raider.
I don't know what the sell was with her. I genuinely don't. Like with someone like Ricky Gervais, it's like, okay, I get like he's got a pretty proven track record of like good comedies, good like you know, comedy dramas with like a real hint of like a pathos to it, like Afterlife and stuff. Like, it's like superb, like that sort of thing. Excellent. But with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, it's like she had one hit show, and that's basically all you got from her. And everything since then has just been like failure after failure. But like they keep casting her and things, they keep giving her money. I don't know what they think they're going to get out of her.
I mean, the five of us could just have one drunken 2-hour stream writing session to do a Tomb Raider script, and we'd come up with something probably serviceable. So I don't know why it's taken
Fucking take the plot from the first Tomb Raider game. Lara's hired by Natla of Natla Technologies to find the 3 pieces of the Scion of Atlantis. She's got to go on a bunch of adventures through different tombs, different parts of the world, globetrotting adventure. She gets betrayed. She loses everything, and then she has to fight her way back, take everything, kill Natla, get the Scion, and that's it. It's easy, so easy.
Didn't they already have a
I should
cartoon
see
where
that
she was
on
bisexual that came out this year?
That was the Netflix one, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even
How
if
did
you
they get
could
the rights?
legally force them to stick to what you just said, Draco, they'd still do that horribly. Like you know that would happen.
And this is the thing, like we've got essentially the template for these stories from almost 30 years ago now. Like the first Tomb Raider game was 1996. And it's simple. Like it relies on the novelty of Lara Croft herself as a character being sexy and interesting and fun and just adventurous and like kind of like Indiana Jones, where there's not a huge amount of backstory and personality there, but like it doesn't matter because it's someone you can imprint yourself onto who goes on an adventure. That's it. All you need.
Have fun with the
is
story
so-
as well, because the story was very, very basic. Like you could sum up the entire story in one paragraph, which means you could have fun with it and expand on it if you wanted.
The first Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movie got about as close as you're going to get to that spirit of Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
You know, and she was hot as fuck. And she was sent on this globetrotting adventure, and there was lots of action, lots of gunplay, lots of like, puzzles and traps and all that stuff. Was it high art? Was it like deeply moving and existentially like redefining like the nature of existence? No, but we don't need it to be. That's not what we're looking for.
I think I have a better shirt that will fit this conversation since we're talking about Lara Croft. Give me a second.
By the time he's back, we'll be on to the
Oh
next
god,
one.
he's gonna come in hot pants, isn't he?
Yeah.
Any fucking excuse with that guy. Honestly, I'm sick of it.
I have a lovely conspiracy theory that maybe there's someone like us who's a high up executive in the studio, and they just want to shut Phoebe Waller-Bridge up. So they just, we'll give you $20 million. You can just make all your scripts and just run them by me. And I don't think you're quite there yet with this one. So go back to the drawing board. So maybe it's just like a containment strategy. That'd be the ultimate conspiracy theory. But I don't know how you screw up that franchise or why you need to angst over it for so many years when it seems like it pretty much writes itself.
Don't know how. I mean, look at the other 1,000 franchises they've murdered at this point. They're just practiced at it.
It's just like the stories made are perfectly fine the way they are. That's why the games became immensely popular. So it's
this is all you need.
It's not
for
broke.
a Tomb Raider movie to work. That's all you need.
Isn't that the New Jersey state motto?
Yes. Oh, of course, Drinker's not here when I get back.
You ruined your joke.
You bastard.
I was one of the children that was absolutely convinced that there was a fabled cheat code to make Lara Croft naked. I was convinced. Turns out it never actually existed.
Oh yeah, the nude code or whatever they called it.
Yeah. Shame.
But yeah, in all honesty, it seems like it's a epidemic when it comes to any video game adaptation. They want to go a different route than just taking the source material and kind of expanding upon it. They did it with Resident Evil. They had the only time that they ever really took something and went, okay, let's take the basic concept and go further with it was Mortal Kombat, years ago. I mean, there might have been a couple others here and there, but like pretty much everyone has always tried to do some crazy, dumb bullshit for no reason.
Yeah, I loved the original Mortal Kombat movies. Still do. They were just dumb fun.
You know,
I really liked them.
on the topic of video game nakedness and Mortal Kombat, I was playing it with family once upon a time, and I forgot to realize the randomized character. I think it was like Mortal Kombat 9, but it's like the last one that actually had. They changed all the skins and stuff, but Melina, there was like a skin she has where she's only wearing bandages, very thin.
I think that was 9. Yeah.
Yeah, and that skin came on screen.
Keep talking more.
My whole fucking family were in the room. They slowly started to notice, and I was like, and I tried to kill her really quickly.
Like, oh no, fatality! I swear.
It's done. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because 9 was the last one before they like reset the timeline, if I recall correctly.
Oh, that's the first one that resets it, isn't it?
Or that's the one that gets the whole thing rolling.
What?
Yeah,
There's actually a
something like
timeline to Mortal Kombat?
They've reset the timeline like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
In Mortal Kombat 1, they pulled an Avengers and essentially made that there's a multiverse now. Like in this universe, Liu Kang's bad, and like I think it's kind of dumb what they did. They went Avengers with it.
Don't they fight like the God of Time in one of these games or something?
I only like the original timeline for Mortal Kombat, and then it gets out of control after a while, because that's what it was. It was Armageddon was the last one, because that was like what they were. Going for. And then it just
hiatus for a while, didn't it? Because Armageddon was it was Deadly Alliance, Deception, Shaolin Monks, and Armageddon. That was like a generation.
Well, Shaolin Monks was an action version of the first 2 games for the most part, or the second and third game.
I really like Shaolin Monks. I thought it was fun.
That one so badly needs a remaster or a remake or something. That was the first time and only time that they ever got the action version correct.
Let me ask a question here. Kevin O'Neill says, speaking of game adaptations, am I the only one who thinks that the best story for a God of War series would be Kratos' journey from Greece to Midgard? This would be including how he met Freya, but a bad writer could easily ruin that.
Yeah, first of all, no God of War adaptations for anybody who doesn't even know what games are. That's what the fucking showrunner said, right? That he can't pick up controllers, he doesn't know how they work.
Okay.
So that's a bad bit of news right there for the fucking show, right? But like I said, yeah, this is valid as an approach. But if we're getting the best thing ever, then people just want to adapt all the best shit, which would probably be like the events of all of the Greek era over a TV show, probably with the right actors and everything. But that's never going to happen.
I think you could do that too. I think you could do that because the first 3 God of War games are fairly loose. They're not like particularly.
You can tighten them up story-wise in a show, and I think people would love to see that era before moving into Dad Kratos, essentially, right? Like see the unhinged, exposed nerve Kratos first. But no, I don't want any God of War adaptation. It's going to be so awful.
But Drinker, you actually kind of have a unique perspective on what I was saying before when it comes to video game adaptations and kind of going outside of the existing. It's like they don't want to just take a game and be like, okay, let's just do this, because you wrote, you've obviously written books, then you wrote a movie that takes place between those books. So it's like the thought process is kind of like, I don't want to just completely take something and adapt it. I want something in that universe, but my own unique thing. Now, granted, it was your own universe that you had created already, so it was a little different for you. But
yeah, I have ultimate power of my own universe. I'm the god of it. But no, the thing is, you can go like whole different ways with this, right? So, like with something like Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, like God of War, whatever it is, you've obviously got a massive fan base that expects like an adaptation of that. Like they wanted to see the story of that game adapted into live action. And you can go a totally different direction and just do your own thing and like have a whole different story if you want to. Sure, that's like your right as the creator of that. But I guess you always have to be cognizant of what the fans want. And I think that's probably your foundation that you want to lay. I would make the first TV show, the first movie or whatever, a fairly accurate and a fairly faithful adaptation of the lore and the story of a game that the fans can latch onto. And then you can use that as a launch pad to branch out into like all different directions. That'd be my ideal way of doing it. But, each their own and all that. I was going to say as well, you guys have been watching the news recently. Jeff Bezos has hit upon the idea of like launching a bunch of privileged, rich women who have no discernible talents into space. The only downside is that he brought them back.
An attempt to get rid of them.
Yeah.
He spent an enormous amount of money to get 11 minutes of silence. That's basically what he did.
Yeah. And I think it's fantastic, you know, because like it's treated as this groundbreaking thing that's like changed the face of space exploration for all time. But it's like, I don't know, it'd be like me saying, like, I got on a commercial flight from like you know, Florida to the UK today, for example, so I can come home. That makes me a pilot. I'm part of the crew now. Like, no, I just sat in a fucking seat and I drank myself silly for like a couple of hours.
The critical pilot.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the way this has been treated, and it's such a strange. I don't know. It's such a strange way of reconciling this stuff. But we did have Katy Perry coming home after her world-changing trip into space. We see it.
Katie! Woo!
There you go.
I feel
That's
like had there not just been astronauts recently who were stuck in space for like 9 months, this would have not like that. She just made herself look like such an idiot because of that.
This is the equivalent of like a guy stuck on a life raft for like 6 months, right? And like subsisting off fish and raw seagulls, right? And then watching a cruise ship go by him with like, you know, rich people like sipping champagne and you know, just like eating canapes and stuff, and them getting all the headlines of how they survived the trip through the Caribbean. That's kind of what this is. It's just so pointless and silly. But
who was the one
it grabbed the headlines.
An astronaut now? Was it Katy Perry who said she's an astronaut now, or was it the other one? Somebody else. She
said she's like connected to the feminine divine after having you know been in space for like 8 minutes or so.
Yeah, one of them said that she was an astronaut, and all I could say is that basically any straight man can then say that he's a gynecologist because all it takes is 8 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
Well, one news outlet actually had the brass balls to say the plucky ladies had piloted the spaceship. They piloted it to the extent that a Soviet-era space chimp they sent up in the 50s piloted that spacecraft.
Yeah.
And they had form-fitting things to show off their boobs with these blue costumes. It was really strange.
Yeah. The thing that really took me aback about the picture, like of the crew for that, is like, you know, when you know, women of a certain age, like I guess when they're hurtling towards 40, they all start getting cosmetic procedures, but they all get the same ones, and so the result is they all end up looking the same. Like they all get
ridiculous high cheekbones and bloated lips. It's like the G-force of going into the atmosphere didn't do well for the plastic surgery.
Kind of, yeah. It's like their faces got designed in a wind tunnel, and so like you end up with that. It's like I can't tell if that's like 6 people or just like 3 people that got copy pasted. Like that's the odd thing about it. But yeah, this is headlines now. These girls like conquered space. So well done, ladies. You did it.
Well, there's the Fermi paradox, which is if there's aliens out there, then why haven't they visited us yet? Well, I think the answer is they saw these specimens and thought, "Fuck off, we're not going to that planet."
Yeah. If Katy Perry was your first like exposure to the human race, you'd be like, "Nah, they're retarded. We need to move on." But yeah, it's space tourism. Like I wish they would just market it as that. Like when I think Shatner did the same thing, didn't he? Like William Shatner went up in the same kind of Amazon launch vehicle, and it was just a little jaunt into outer space. It's like no one thinks that he's now Captain Kirk for real. It's just like, yeah, he just did that. He put his safety on the line to do it, just like these girls did. And I think you should at least applaud them for that. They strapped themselves into a giant penis that was powered by rocket fuel going into the heavens, and they came back in one piece. That's something. They didn't pilot it, but they still were aboard it, and they could have blown up. So that's cool.
Yeah, but they're confusing a publicity stunt for being pioneers, and that's the kind of sad irony about this whole thing.
Well, it's when you have to get increasingly obscure, where it's like you have to say it's the first X, Y, and Z demographics that have done this thing. You know, this thing that's been done like hundreds of times by other people, like for the past 50 years. It's not really that impressive, really.
Could be worse.
What was this? Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking at the super chats that were coming in there.
I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it. It was like a meme where someone put the rocket right next to like a massager, and like no wonder they use this for the women. I couldn't find it though, unfortunately.
the other thing that's
I tried.
come out, the other thing that's come out just while we've been on today has been the Fantastic Four trailer. So, and I haven't even seen this myself.
I've seen one image before. I haven't seen anything else, and it was a disappointing image to say the least.
Well, shall we see
Finally,
a little
it
bit
has-
of it and see how we react?
Well, finally, it has Pedro Pascal. It's like he's like Daniel Day-Lewis. Every
can't
5
escape- I
years,
can't
he'll
escape
do a
it.
selective role, and it's great. So I'm glad to see him.
Yeah.
He's
Let's
very,
take a look.
very like he's very selective about the roles he takes. Is I think was what you're trying to say.
Exactly. He's the Daniel Day-Lewis of the modern day.
Wow, folks, we all know the story. 4 brave astronauts head up into space and come back forever changed.
I'm definitely not pausing this for arbitrary reasons because I'm reaching the limit of what I can do without getting copyright struck. Anyway, carrying on.
More chill usually.
Something about Ben Grimm still looks weird to me. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I can't.
I think it looks fine. Like if you're gonna mirror the comics, then he looks pretty good.
I'm not sure what it is. It's something about like the way that he is against the backgrounds. It's not the actual like look. It's something about the physical being in the scenes that just looks off to me. I can't quite put my finger on it.
This car?
Our city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls.
It's very 60s. That's definitely what they're going for. So this is like
just said it. The head looks too small. That's what it is. The head isn't big enough. That's what it is.
It looks a bit like the rock biter from the Neverending Story.
Oh.
And while we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you.
Thank you, Fantastic Four!
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
Paused it too soon. Hold on.
That's a great pause right there.
There we go.
Yeah, the head is too small.
Yeah, there it is, right there. That's actually a great way to look at it. His head is smaller than Pedro Pascal's and Vanessa Kirby's. Like it shouldn't be that small. That's what it is. Thank you, Sneedo, in the chat for that.
Yeah. Vanessa Kirby still looks too old.
Yeah,
They all look too
Plus-
old.
we're all desperately hanging out to see how they're going to deconstruct, the preconceived roles around femininity.
I'm sure
all
it's
that kind of
made for
stuff.
a modern audience,
He's also really short for the thing. It just doesn't seem like he's big enough to be what he's supposed to be. Like he's shorter than pretty much everybody but Johnny here. It's like I like the fact that they added the stone eyebrows and stuff. I like that, but it just he's not big enough. I want bigger. I want a bigger thing.
Oh, man, he wants it bigger.
I want a bigger thing. Damn it!
You just want a bigger thing.
I just want a bigger thing. One of my
It's what you
favorite.
do with it. It's what you do with it that counts,
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite comics is Giant-Sized Man Thing #1. That's like
Herbie, how's that sauce looking?
Oh, we're doing this shit again, are we?
I don't know. They
Okay.
really like the thing is cooking.
It's funny as fuck. Believe that.
Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks
cool.
like a
They're like-
strung-out heroin addict. That Johnny guy looks terrible. And they're going to
he's
deconstruct
really-
him as well. He's no longer going to be like a Jack the Lad flirtatious kind of guy. It's all going to be like just for show because he has insecurities. So that's another great element to throw in there.
Yeah. Didn't they say that they're gonna explore the what like a woman's place in a group is for?
Yeah, I
Vanessa
think.
Kirby doing that?
Yeah, I think they're gonna rewrite Sue Richards as for modern audiences, so she
Well,
fits in with
eventually
the
in
modern.
the
But
comics,
this,
they
but
did
this is in
do
the
that.
60s.
Yeah, but it's like an alternate reality
Alternate
version of the
history.
60s. So
Yeah, there was a story where that's why she eventually became the Invisible Woman versus the Invisible Girl. They did do that later on, but that wasn't what they started with.
oh, go.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you pregnant?
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of
Pedro
We just
Pascal,
watched
like,
the whole
holy
show
shit,
why he won't be the best dad.
yeah. I'm getting so tired of his face. I don't know how else to say it.
your death. We are gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing is going to change.
So it's all about family, guys. Heartwarming.
So I'm kind of ignorant about this, but the comics came out in the 60s?
Yes.
They did. So it's an
They were the
alternative reality, but socio-culturally it's not like different or modern.
Well, I
because
think
of
what
that.
they're trying to play upon is like the nostalgia for the 1960s aesthetic of the comics. Because
fact
like,
that they
that's
are
really what all they have now. Like it's just like play on nostalgia.
The fact that they are going for the familial aspect, like the family aspect of it, does make sense. That's kind of a running thing with the Fantastic Four. That's not completely unheard of. What direction they go with is a little weird, but that is always the thing. They are the first family of Marvel. That's what they're called. So it does make sense that they would go that route.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Oh, this is our Silver Surfer.
I saw a picture of this actually. The CG looks better from 2007 or whatever they did. Whenever they
That's
did
the
the first
picture
time.
I was talking about. Yep.
Yes, we are.
Your planet?
Ugh.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Man,
looks
that looks
rough, man.
music video from the 2000s.
You could make an AI video that looks better than that right now. Like we could just go type it into an AI search engine and it would look better than that.
Also, Zendaya's got bigger tits than this fucking Silver Surfer. Jesus Christ.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
Now,
serious.
the actress this is modeled after is tiny. She's like a hobbit. She's like that lady in Captain Falcon movie. The
Just give
bets
us
are off.
Give us fucking actresses that look like women again. Jesus Christ, is it that hard?
marked for death.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space.
I mean, if you are the Human Torch, I feel like you've got a lot of advantages right there.
On the Silver Surfer?
No,
I mean,
Silver
like-
Surfer is
Well,
insanely more powerful.
he can go
than-
supernova, can't he?
No, Silver Surfer
If he
is
gets hot enough.
way more powerful.
Silver
than
Surfer's a different
Well,
class.
not even close, Drinker. It's like it's stratospherically different. Like Silver Surfer's insanely powerful, no matter which version you're talking about.
Guess
Even
I'm
the
asshole
girl
then.
No matter which version you're talking about.
I don't
It's-
fucking understand this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
I'll let you know. I mean, whether or not I agree with their choice for it being the Silver Surfette or whatever, is fine. But the power cosmic versus what he can do is just levels beyond.
And they heard.
Are we safe?
No.
Whoa, what the fuck was that?
Sums that up.
Yeah. No!
I don't know. There's not enough time.
I'm not giving up.
The thing is, I think this will be better than most of the things that Marvel have put out over the past few years.
I don't know. I feel like that sentiment has been said a couple of times now before a thing comes out. Like with people have been saying that about Thunderbolts has been baffling me. I was like,
No,
why?
that's gonna be garbage. But like this, I actually think like they're probably gonna put some heart into it. But I don't think people are gonna show up in the numbers that they need to make this successful.
I don't see why we should expect anything different. They use the same formula for all these fucking movies, man.
I
The
can't
best they can
foresee
ever
anything
do
having.
is gimmicky, try to like trick you into thinking it'll be better this time.
I think that I think they've got the reverence like internally for the Fantastic Four. But there's someone in Marvel that understands the significance of the Fantastic Four as a property.
I mean, if you think so, holy shit! Like the idea that someone in Marvel respects Marvel characters.
Well, yeah, but how
Someone
much
in
sway, how
Marvel
much sway that
Comics,
person
maybe.
has, I don't know. But like, I just feel like someone does.
Someone in Marvel Comics, maybe not in Marvel Studios. They've completely gutted
That's the thing,
that
man.
for anybody.
Even Kevin Feige is just like, if you say, do you know this character? He'd be like, is that the one with the, like, I just wouldn't picture it. I think they just fucking. They see Fantastic Four as dollar sign potential. That's it, as far as I'm concerned.
So honestly, I mean, the way you can kind of equate this would be how Disney treated their original show. Okay, I'll let that go.
Well, I mean, sorry, not to interrupt, but like, would you do you think that with
I'm
Silver
blocked
Surfer
anyway.
here, and you don't like some of the casting choices, right? And then these decisions to talk about gender politics as part of a Fantastic Four's intro story to the MCU. It's like, do you really think they're they're looking to respect Fantastic Four for what it is?
So this is what I would say. I would argue that the Fantastic Four is the equivalency in Marvel Comics to what Snow White was to Disney as a whole. It was their first like true thing. It was their first like family, their first creations. And we see how they treated their first ever creation as a company, as Disney. So I can't foresee them doing that anything proper with Fantastic Four. They literally tried to erase the Fantastic Four for a while in the Marvel general universe because they didn't have the rights to it. So they don't give a shit about it to begin with.
Well, that's the thing. I would just develop that into they don't give a shit about the integrity of any of the storytelling or the characters. They're just money, money, money. Because they used to be on top of the world, right? So they're trying to find their way back, and I guess they think now it's going to be Fantastic Four.
There you go. One for you, Mauler.
He was great, and they could have brought him back. They could have. He's still the right. Like he looks good enough as a Fantastic Four, but
he can still move. He can still say words.
He's around.
They went to the
Pascal. You got to get him in. Apparently,
they went to the composer and said, "Can you create a score which is just thrashing, pounding waves of sonic noise with no melody to it, and make it really overpowering so that you feel fatigued after only watching the trailer?" So that was the brief they gave to the.
They delivered. They absolutely did.
We will face this together.
Family.
We will fight it together. As a family.
I have that action figure.
I mean, I feel like they're going for all the like tried and tested stuff. Family, team of disparate heroes having to learn to work together to combat an existential threat. All the stuff that's worked for the past 20 years of like superhero movies. They're deploying it here.
I literally have that action figure that they just showed. Like they just put a different costume on the damn thing.
Also, you said worked for the past 20 years. I mean, has it? Like,
well, maybe up until about maybe 2017.
I mean, I would agree to go as far as 19, 20, even maybe, but it starts to fall apart then, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then it's because they've tried to tack so much other extraneous stuff onto it. But I think if you were to drill it down to like that more classical message of like a family, an actual family of people like trying to work together with people in fairly well carved out roles, that could work.
Yeah, well, I
'Cause
mean,
it's
you know,
like there's
I don't disagree with you. There's pieces here that could be a part of a great film, but it's just I just don't trust them anymore at all.
no,
with
no.
anything.
I think you're right not to. I think you're right not to.
think,
But if I was to put my money on any Marvel project this year, it would be this. It wouldn't be Thunderbolts. No way.
Thunderbolts
well-
has this advantage of no one cares about it and no one really knows much about the characters. So what they can
Well-
do, if they play around with them, it doesn't matter as much.
That's what they said
so
about Blue
that's-
Beetle.
Yeah, but that wasn't Marvel, so
I just think with Thunderbolts, like there's not enough interest either way. So even if it's good, people won't care enough to go watch it. So it's probably going to flop no matter what they do.
yeah, I have a feeling Thunderbolts will be like actually pretty good, and no one will see it anyway. I have
Really?
that theory. Yeah, I have a
You're,
theory.
you're
that
one of those
because-
people. I don't understand these people. Help me understand you. Why are you your species?
So what I'm saying is because I just have this. I'm not. I don't have any scientific reason for it. I just have this feeling because it's such an irrelevant property that there's a possibility that they might do some cool shit with it, and then no one will even notice because no one will go to see it. That's just what I'm thinking. It's
Okay.
because they can play around with it. They can literally do whatever they want. No one cares about any of the characters except for Bucky. Like not a single, none of those characters anybody gives a shit about. So they can just do whatever they want. And what the best part about that theory is, if I'm wrong, no one will notice anyway.
It's so relevant, no one cares.
Vanessa Kirby's face, it just seems a little kind of weirdly stretched and smooth. She seems like 1 or 2 years away from getting a ticket, to be invited into
It's
space.
it's because she's pushing 40. Like
The story.
hold on.
4 brave astronauts head off into space and come back forever
Oh,
changed.
wait. Sorry. Yeah, she's probably older than she should be.
Well, yeah, she's like 39, right? Like
Yeah, like I think the character's meant to be like mid-20s, as I understand.
Right.
Yeah, they should definitely. And Pedro Pascal's what, like 50? I don't know. He's looked
right
this
about,
same
yeah.
age since he was like in his 20s. So I don't know. But they definitely should have went with a younger Fantastic Four, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's see.
Has to be us.
All this stuff is just like, I don't know, man. Like it would have been super impressive 20 years ago, but it's like, we've seen it all so many times before.
It's got a good visual aesthetic to it. I think the
It
color
does, like,
palettes and everything. It looks pretty good.
They're going for the very clean 1960s look, which is fair. That's when Fantastic Four started.
We will protect you.
Okay. Yeah,
That was a
stuff
little bit-
happens.
I don't know. That's. I feel like because that's the thing about Galactus's size. You get one shot to sort of really make it imposing. Having him walk like a smaller Godzilla is just a bit like.
So if I was to ask you guys, right, what are you more excited for, this or Superman?
Oh,
Is it
fuck.
coming out at the same time?
Probably.
Yeah, they come
I'm
out a
more
week
curious
apart,
about
right?
Superman. I think I want to because like Superman's going to determine everything for DC. Meanwhile, and you could say similarly to Fantastic Four, but I think that if Fantastic Four was to fail, then Marvel are going to have everything invested in Avengers, right? They'll be like, oh god, we need that to work. DC, on the other hand, everyone's going to be fucking
got
running around in
nothing.
circles if Superman fails, and James Gunn will be a part of like a meeting every hour for the next few weeks if it fails.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That there's way too much riding on Superman's success. Fantastic Four, if it fails, it's just another failed cog in the wheel that is the MCU, and it will just get forgotten when the next thing comes out.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
even though obviously they're confirmed for Avengers, so I think they are banking on this working. But I guess it's too late not to, right?
This year, like they need something to work because like last year they had Deadpool and Wolverine. They're not going to get Captain America, obviously. They're probably not going to get Thunderbolts. This is their thing. This is their.
Drinker? It made its budget back. It was a success, a great success. We love it.
Captain Black America, man. It was awesome. Yeah.
Until we
I
see an
trust.
Avengers movie fail, that's the problem. That would be the problem right there.
Yeah.
I trust
This
my
one won't
long-term
fail.
forecast now. I think the Superman is not going to do well. I think visually, aesthetically, it looks plain and boring. I think David Corenswet is no one knows who he is, and he doesn't especially seem to have any charisma. And there just seems to be a taint of desperation to it, and it almost needs to succeed too much. I can't see. It doesn't seem like it's got any particular allure to it. So I don't think it's going to work.
I think it's going to get eaten up by Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlett Johansson's
that film will
tits are
eat
going
them
to like
both.
dominate
It's,
the summer box office season. And,
the
and
history
they
for
should.
Jurassic is there. It's a juggernaut. It always does super duper well. So, and you know what's interesting about Superman is that I agree with the sentiment, but maybe different workings. Because I would say like it's probably going to make a decent chunk of money, but it will not be enough. As in, like, I'm not saying profit necessarily, but say it hits like 600,000. Sorry, 600 million.
600,000. That would be news in itself.
If it hits 600
That's
million,
Snow White numbers
that's,
right there.
And someone fucking bean counters it to like, oh, profit of X, Y, Z. It's like that'll be a catastrophic failure for DC. Still, they'd be like, this is nowhere near enough. And I don't know that James Gunn can actually pass the bar for what they need for that film to act as like the giant pillar to stand up the rest of the DC universe. I don't think it's going to happen.
What do you think it needs to be?
Sorry?
Well, I said, what do you think it needs to be? Like a billion?
Oh,
like a
billion.
No, billion?
800 million minimum.
I think on Real BBC I said 900 million is probably where it needs to get to for DC to be happy. But I mean, clearing $1 billion will make them like, yay, we did it. We can say that it cleared $1 billion. You know,
it's weird because
that'd be like the first thing.
What it is.
That'd be the first movie that's cleared $1 billion since Aquaman.
Minecraft's gonna fucking clear it, isn't it?
I don't know. No, it's slowed down quite a bit.
Oh, did it? I thought it had a good second week drop off.
Yeah, 55%.
Yeah, I think it's sitting at like 550 at the moment. So, like, it'll probably get there, but it's not going to be like romping over the finish line.
It's heavily dying down. We went to see it at the weekend just there, and it was like my group of friends and 2 couples in the entire cinema. So we never got. Sadly, we never got a chicken jockey moment.
I did because I saw it on opening night and I was like, is there a bunch of retards in the cinema? Like, because they're whooping and hollering and like, fucking chicken. But like, that's apparently like the sentiment around this movie.
The Saturday drop off on the second week was 41.9%, which is still pretty like, holy shit.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
We'll see. But I kind of despise how incredibly popular that film is. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, you know what? I'm taking all the heat for this shit because I'm getting so much hatred on my review of it.
Did you say it was a bad film, Drinker?
I said it wasn't very good. I said it was kind of dumb. But I also said, like, if you're like a child and you're a big fan of Minecraft and you're kind of retarded, then you'll love it. You'll have...
I mean, as a kids' movie with a couple of adult jokes thrown in there so that the parents have something to laugh at when they take their little shitty children to see the film. That's the type of movie it is.
You know, the thing is as well, like, and I don't want to take that away from people. Like, when people are going this en masse and like they're like hollering and stuff, like all the memes and things that they recognize, that's a nice thing. I like to see that, but the movie itself is retarded. Like, there's no get away from that.
What kind of comments do you get in there?
Did you expect anything else?
Like 10-year-olds being like, "Leave Minecraft alone. Why are you saying this?"
A lot of the comments were like, you know, I took my 2-year-old fetus to go see this, and like he had the time of his life, and I'm like, yeah, okay, great, but like I'm not here to assess this from the point of view of like a 4-year-old or whatever. I'm here to like try and give you some kind of balanced view of the movie as a whole and like whether it's worth your time.
That was your first mistake, Drinker.
Yeah,
I should actually make some like logic out of the Minecraft movie.
But you know what? If people go and see it, like, I'm happy. Like, fine. I don't mind. It's not an offensive movie. It's not trying to push anything. It's just a fun, dumb summer popcorn movie. Whatever.
The only thing that bothered me about it was they had that black lady playing the role of Black Lady. Like that.
Yeah, I got stick for that, for pointing that out. It's like, because I couldn't remember the character's name, and I just called her a random black lady. I,
like the movie,
again,
Jason Momoa did add a lot to it. I liked his character; he was quite funny. But the movie could have been done in a sort of a magical, like isekai kind of way, with just Jack Black and the two kids. That would have still been a really, really good movie.
I think you could have had a buddy movie where it was Jack Black and Jason Momoa, and like they've got to one's the sort of jock character and one's the geeky character. Yeah, exactly. Like someone at some point in the development cycle said, like, well, kids have to see themselves represented here, and so you got that.
Yeah,
and then probably someone else said, like, we need more representation for minorities, and so you got Dawn, the real estate agent, who has no real role in the story, but they'll just put her in there anyway. And it's nothing against the actress; she's nice, and the character's nice enough. It's just like she's got no purpose in the story. There's no arc for her.
She did the wolves at the end. It was great.
Just to get back to Superman, the reason I don't think that it's going to work very well is that the character is actually in kind of like a narrow band in terms of expression and his personality, I think. So you have to absolutely love the actor who is playing Superman. It's got to be super endearing and likable, like Christopher Reeve or Henry Cavill. And you've got to have that immediate draw for that actor to be carrying that character. And so this David Corenswet guy, he doesn't have that. And that's the biggest flaw, and it's obvious.
He's a bit forgettable.
I mean,
because say what you want about the Zack Snyder movies, but like Henry Cavill's portrayal as Superman was memorable.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I was going to say maybe give him a chance to like have a go. I mean, it could be the.
I was going to say, we haven't seen the movie yet. We can't say that yet. That's not fair to him as an actor to say he's forgettable when we haven't seen the performance. We've only seen trailers.
I think sometimes you can tell the sort of charisma of an actor just by like how he looks on screen, how he acts, how he reacts to things. And with David Corenswet, I haven't seen much so far.
Drinker, this is the thing. For years, I've always said this. People annihilated the the casting of Joker for The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. People, when that first came out, people were like, this is the stupid casting. It's the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You. And what is going on to this day? It's still the most revered, one of the most, if not the most, one of the most revered versions. I will not annihilate a character, an actor for playing a character until I've seen him do it. That's just I've made that a policy since Heath Ledger. That's just the way I do it.
Well, the difference there is that the Joker as a character has a greater scope for interpretation. You can explore nihilism and cruelty and aggression and all those kind of things. So there's much more depth there. Whereas Superman is more of a very stoic, simple archetype. And so you've got to have a character who has that initial likable, wholesome, really cool charisma where you want to see them on the screen, and it stands out. And this guy, I'm sure he's good, but if you're helming this thing with all the stakes, and this is the guy, I can't see it.
It's the difficulty as well of separating the actor from the script that they're given, because like you could say like what would Jack Nicholson have done with the Dark Knight kind of script, because that would have been a fascinating portrayal of the character. Like a super legacy kind of veteran actor taking on a really like interesting interpretation of that character, but then you didn't get to see it. Same with Ben Affleck with his version of Batman. It's like lumbered with terrible movies, but like ultimately the physicality of him and like the presence of him as Bruce Wayne and as Batman, very interesting. What might he have done with a much better script? We don't know. We'll never know. But that's the interesting thing.
Are you saying that James Gunn's script is going to hold him back, or are you saying?
No, not necessarily. I think you get a sense of what you're going to get from the performance from the trailer, obviously, because they're going to cherry pick the best moments or the most interesting moments character-wise or like performance-wise or whatever. And I think what we've seen so far from David Corenswet hasn't been particularly memorable. It's more just like a guy who fills out the Superman suit in a pretty interesting trailer overall, but not necessarily like someone who really owns the role himself on his own charisma.
Fair. I could on one hand maybe chalk that up to horrific marketing, which I think they've done a horrible job marketing this Superman film. but I'll find out if maybe they actually did a pretty good job because what they were working with was terrible. You know, I don't know. We'll find out. But on the other hand, I was going to say that if the leaks of the plot to this film are true, which some of us may have read them, some of us may have not, but I have it on good authority that they're very likely real. I have lost faith in James Gunn as a writer after the last few projects. I'm not sure how everyone else feels about him, but the reason why I said, like you saying, it would hold him back is because I kind of feel like that was probably a fair argument to make. That I don't know what James Gunn is doing with Superman, but if it's terrible, then Corin Sweat's probably not going to be able to save it, however good of an actor he may or may not be.
Yeah. This could be James Gunn's Waterloo, really.
Yeah, I think so.
Because like his legacy as a creative in Hollywood is going to be banked on this. This is his big thing. Ultimately, he's obviously had success with Guardians of the Galaxy and so on, and Suicide Squad, but like this will be what he's remembered for. And if this stands or falls, his career is going to stand or fall on this.
Yeah, and there's so many other things already intricately established after that, all this booster gold stuff and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to have this massive cascading effect that's going to be really difficult.
Well, but it's all contingent on this. So like, if this flops, like all that stuff will get cancelled.
By his nature, Superman is required. So writing is so key to Superman. No amount of acting can overcome Superman. And the reason why is because the character himself has all of these abilities to overcome pretty much anything. It comes down to the actual way the character is written, how they react and interact with the world around them, and that's where it's going to come down to. So I think you're right when it comes to whether or not Corin Sweat is good enough to overcome the deficiencies that may be in the writing from James Gunn. If they can't do that, if his because it's one thing to do the Guardians of the Galaxy, who were completely, no one cared about them. They were a set of characters nobody had heard of, and you could do whatever you wanted with them. Really, Superman has a lot of restrictions in the way that you can write him, because if you if you just make him invincible, no one cares. The reason why the original one is still revered to this day is because he fails at the end and has to set it right. That's one of the reasons why it's so revered. He doesn't succeed immediately. He has to go back and change things.
There's also a strategy thing happening here that we've been calling out since the announcement of all of this. It's like you might need more than Superman to prop up, DC as a whole right now if you fail this. But what's the next movie going to be? Like Supergirl? Which
I haven't followed enough to care.
I think it's totally fine to have Supergirl even as a movie in the universe or whatever, but not second. And you understand, like, if Superman only narrowly makes it into what someone considers profit or whatever, Supergirl's fucked. Like, there's no way. And so it's like, why would you make like a Superman DLC a full big pillar to the beginning of the DC, as opposed to the obvious logic of, well, you want Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and then by extension, Green Lantern, Cyclops, or the Flash, and some of this stuff is being done. Some of it's in production hell. Some of it's being cancelled. I don't even know what's going on anymore. And then some of it's like, what the fuck is going on with Batman, which is like the worst position from the beginning of the DC universe to be in.
My favorite thing is that Mahler just totally pitched a Marvel DC crossover in there by saying Cyclops. I'm just.
Oh fuck! Sorry, Cyborg. Cyborg.
No,
but the prior 10 years. Go ahead. Oh, I just saying the prior 10 years, DC was notorious for being a shit show, like of not having things organized and not having things structured, not having a good distribution system or pipeline. And so James Gunn, his whole thing was to come in and be a settling influence, steady the ship, and give like structure to it. So if this fails in that context, then the whole thing's going to look kind of fucked.
The thing is that like they have to give him 5 years. Like, if they don't give him 5 years, then they haven't given him a fair opportunity to get his vision into practice. Because that's how long it takes to get, like, a movie from, like, concept to, like, script to performance to principal photography and then to, like, actual release. And so you've got to give that amount of time. That's the problem that they've had. They've had this revolving door of, like, producers, creatives, and so on. They maybe get 2 years. And when their very first project that wasn't even theirs because it was a holdover from the previous era fails, they get ousted and then they get replaced with someone else. That's the problem.
I mean, some people might not remember, but we went through a small The Rock era for DC.
That was a very fucking small era.
That's the crazy thing, though. If Black Adam had been super successful, we might be looking at Dwayne Johnson's DC universe.
That's the thing, man. I was holding out for like Blue Beetle or something to be like fucking crazy successful and make like $10 billion. Just so like they would be left scratching their heads like, what the fuck do we even do with this universe now?
Black Adam. God, talk about a memory hold film. God damn.
Yeah.
That did a lot of damage to The Rock's prestige in Hollywood.
I think damage
he
was
had to go and buy the
happening anyway.
WWE.
That was like the era where he was starting to. Everyone was just like, "Oh, he's so annoying. He turns up in everything." Have you seen those posts where it's like the 4 horsemen of I'm not watching this film? And
yeah.
Dwayne Johnson, Jack Black. Sometimes it'll be Kevin Hart, whatever. But you got
Pedro
Pascal
and Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. Tell you what, let's finish up by doing some super chats before we like.
Oh, if I can clarify, someone's saying that you're wrong. The Supergirl story is neat. It's like it's not about how good the story is. It has nothing to do with that. Yeah. It's Supergirl is not a smart move, I think, early on, and certainly not if your Superman movie fails.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely is it's a story that should be pushed a little, at least past the sequel to a Superman movie. You can't introduce her that quickly. The whole one of the pillars of Superman is that he's supposed to believe he's the last Kryptonian. Yeah. And if you immediately introduce another Kryptonian, it takes. I think I said that on when we did the first trailer, that having having Crypto, the Wonder Dog, on there was an issue because it's like it already immediately takes out that whole I'm alone feeling from the character. And if you add Supergirl, it really takes away from that.
Yeah.
I think that's just James Gunn. Like, I like dogs. Like that's literally that's his mindset.
You can get around with Crypto.
I fucking love dogs as well. Like they're great, but like I wouldn't sacrifice $1 billion franchise for a dog.
You're right, Dark Hour. It's a singularity of the character. His loneliness is a very important element of his character, I think. So I think you're right about that.
With Crypto, you can get around it. You can be, it's a dog. Yes, it's he's not a person. Once you introduce other Kryptonians, now you get to that's one of the and I already mentioned the original old ones with Christopher Reeve. That's why the second one was so crazy, because it's like all of a sudden he's not the only Kryptonian. There's other members of his species there. It changes his view on everything. There's a lot going on there that that goes on with that.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we've got here. Blue Collar Loser, I think we know this guy, says, saw The Accountant 2 on Tuesday. Fun sequel. Byrne and Affleck play off each other very well. Loved him in the BA finale. Also saw Warfare in IMAX. Loved it. Nice. Okay. I mean, this is pretty good. I haven't seen The Accountant 2, but Bernthal and Affleck together, it's a pretty good combination. They worked well in the first one, so hopefully the second one's just as good. Akeem Toast says, a local theater was playing Crimson Tide in remembrance of Gene Hackman. I saw it and was enthralled the whole time. Seems like a great candidate for drinkers extra shots. Absolutely. That's a drinker recommend right there. Fucking Crimson Tide is awesome. Love it. I love just seeing these excellent heavyweight actors like Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington just going head to head.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love that movie.
Claustrophobic with the tension is palpable for the majority of that film. There's an intensely severe atmosphere between these two very strong personalities. It's great. I need to rewatch that.
And the movie's ambiguous about who's really in the right in all this, which I think is fantastic as well. Because you can 100% buy into either perspective. It's a matter of ideas, and I think that's really interesting to play with. Love it. Blue Collar Loser says, 5'1" Bella Ramsey makes a 6'4", 240-pound man tap out. Sure. Abby is tiny. Oh my God, even Dark Hour can take Ellie, and he's only old and chubby. I'll see you in hell, sir.
36. I'm 36. It's not old.
Old and chubby.
I will admit, since my competition days, I have gained quite a bit of weight. It's because I started eating pizza again, and it's fucking awesome, and I love it. So
Pizza is nice. Pizza is
It's
nice.
pretty
I
cool.
like
It's true.
I used to compete at 165 at 6'1". Let's put it that way. It was a pretty unrealistic weight class for me.
So what's this? Penti Pistoli says the guy who destroyed the Last of Us 2 disc is a StarCraft 2 pro called Crank. He was also the first member of the Total Biscuits Team Axiom Esports.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that video going viral. I think it's when Joel dies, he like ejects the disc and just breaks it.
Just what? Smashes it with a hammer or something?
I think he broke it like with his hands.
Okay. Jacob Wolf says, anybody interested in Sinners? Sisters. Yeah, that's the one with Michael B. Jordan, I think.
It's Ryan Coogler's new movie, right?
Yeah, after casting Black Snape and The Last of Us this week, I really don't want to support a Warner Brothers film. Rather wait for it on Max. So, yeah, the trailer looked kind of interesting. I'd actually be interested in watching that movie. Sinners.
Well, the reviewer Dan Murrell said that it was had some great qualities to it, and he's always a good, tried and true guy for me. So yeah, I think I'll check that film out.
Coogler as a director, he's a bit hit and miss for me, but yeah, I'd give it a go for sure. Craig the Bad Guy says favorite jokes in the Naked Gun movies. Also, Muller, in your short film, will you include a killer who talks and sounds like Mark Brown?
No, but that would be funny if I did. Favorite jokes in the Naked Gun movies? Fucking hell, all of them.
I got one.
Is it when Nord? Sorry, who's the like really fucking tall guy? Like you never see him on screen, but like he's always like. I
don't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you've got something stuck to the corner of your mouth, and you just see a fucking banana, like an entire banana, just fall onto the stage.
What was it? The first one where he's like, where the chick is like, "Is this some kind of bust?" And he's like, "Well, yes, it is, but we're taking you in." I don't remember the exact line. I think that was the first one.
No, wait. What was the? He's got to like have a code word for everyone to like come in and rescue him, and it's like I love it. And it was like you've been swimming in raw sewage, and he just goes, "Yes, I love it." And like they tried to like get to him, but like their van has been parked right up against like a telephone pole, so they can't get the door open. And you just see Frank Drebin going, "I love it."
The scene where he pays the guy for information and then the guy pays him for information is
That's
also
the one
good.
I was going to talk about. Maybe this will refresh your memory. And they just keep handing the same $20 back to you.
He's like, "Can you spot me a 20?"
Yeah.
Is there a bit where
honestly all three of those movies are just nonstop great one-liners. It's impossible to really
yeah. That era of like Naked Gun, Airplane, Hot Shots, like those kind of movies, man.
Top Secret, dude.
Fucking brilliant.
Fucking loved Airplane. Airplane was rapid fire machine gun jokes. It was constant, and everyone like even just like little silly things as well. Where it's like, "Oh, do you have anything to read? Something like here? It's a pamphlet on Jewish sports legends."
Yeah.
So good, man.
It's when everyone panics, right? Like because they've run out of coffee or something. And, like everyone's like throwing shit across the plane, and a fucking random topless woman just runs into shot, bounces across the screen, and then runs away.
Great film, so many great assets.
For years, there was like a thing where people tried to figure out who that woman was for a long time, and I think they like, eventually narrowed it down.
Apparently, remember in the original Resident Evil games, the person that played Jill Valentine, apparently there's a huge online manhunt to find her because no one knows where the fuck she is.
No, it's the games. It's the games. The Drinker was part of it.
I was part of this. I tried to fucking find her, and I got as far as like talking to her agent, and they were like, "Nah, she's not interested, man."
Drinker's like standing out there with like $100 bills. Like,
I was legit like, name your price. I will fucking pay whatever it takes to get her on a live stream. And like,
Drinker's
not doing it.
He's on the phone with his bank. Like, I'm gonna mortgage my house to get this woman on my damn stream.
Yeah, well, I came into that whole situation like I am the critical drinker. I can fucking throw whatever at this, and thinking like somehow I can make this work. And like even that wasn't enough. Like, God damn it.
Drinker experienced his first real loss in years.
True, yeah.
It's like when Superman can't stop a heart attack, It's like there are limits.
Yeah. I got all the other actors from that game on a live stream on just the other day, just before I went off on holiday, and I got to do an interview with them, and that was pretty fucking cool. I'll tell you what, man, Rebecca Chambers is still pretty hot even now.
I loved that Barry Birkin was just working out for no reason in what was going on. I was watching. I was like, "What?"
He's this fucking crazy Australian guy, and like he just like drove home, right? And he was yelling abuse at random like pedestrians and shit, like as he went. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to minimize all of us, and we'll just follow him around for the day. That'd be amazing.
The beginning of the interview, he's just like doing curls on with like resistance bands. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. He just said like, I'm in the middle of a workout. I'm not going to stop. Like, okay, cool, man. Good luck to you. Anyway, the Fixer says, finally, I watched Snow Walk. The only thing that I enjoyed was Gal Gadot's acting. I rate the movie 1 out of 10. I would rather be waterboarded again. And yes, I've been waterboarded. No further questions. Fuck.
Gal Gadot was my favorite part of the movie, to be fair.
I mean, I think we all finally came to the conclusion that Gal Gadot cannot act and never could. But she's
finally
hot. I mean, she's beautiful though. That's the hard thing about it. You don't want to slate a beautiful woman, but
so I guess we're not going to find out if Sydney Sweeney can act for a few decades.
No. Who cares? Who fucking cares?
Who cares?
I just needed to bounce about on screen. City Boy says, when's the Bigot Man appeared, I clapped and I clapped. Okay. Is that dank?
I think that's a Last of Us reference.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I'm a bigot, so I can see why you would get.
Sorry, I don't know why I lumped you in with that one, but yeah, there was no bigot sandwiches referenced in this one, so yeah. Flav says, thanks for that thumbnail drinker. Now I'll have to neck at least a half bottle of vodka to get a nightmare-free snooze. Oh, and hail to you and Mauler. Yeah, it's Bella Ramsey's got a unique face. That's the best I can say. Paul Stramby says, oh yeah, just back the Trial by Fire. Excited to see what's next for Ryan Drake. Well, that's the thing. It's not just about Ryan Drake. It's about a whole bunch of stuff. We've got Mauler. He's got a short film coming out as part of this. One of our backers is going to get their script selected, basically, and voted on by the backers themselves to get their thing turned into a short film. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming out. But yeah, thank you for backing it, man.
Drinker Studios.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of an interesting idea. Like, you democratize film production. You know, people get to choose themselves. Like, hey, you put in a subscription for this. You paid some money. What do you want to get made? And you can vote on it. I like that idea.
When is the open call for scripts?
So the Kickstarter is going to finish at the end of this month. So like May 1st, for example. And then after that, we're going to open it up for script submissions. So yeah, anytime after that, basically. If you got an idea for like a, say, 10, 15-minute short film that's relatively economical to film, submit your idea and we will see what we can do and we'll put it to a vote. Next up is Aaron K. says, why is it that woke progressive types parasitize popular IPs? It's like once something becomes popular, they move mountains to corrupt it. Is there no solution to this problem? Will it ever end? That's a good question, actually.
There's two reasons. They're incapable of coming up with anything of their own. There's no fresh ideas. They think everything's been tried out, so they need to latch onto something else. They're not able to get popular on their own terms with their own story, with their own writing. So they try and stand on the shoulders of someone else, but they also have an alternate worldview where they want to warp the thing to tell their story, their politics, their ideology, and everything. So it's like, oh, what I like this franchise, but what if it was more about me? And that's what they do. And then it's also because they hate everyone and want to destroy all the things you love. So there's multiple reasons why they do it.
I'm inclined to agree on that one, actually. Silver Surfer and Sue are going to bond over motherhood, leading to Silver Surfer betraying Galactus and saving the Fantastic Four. Film doesn't look awful yet. That's the key word there, yet.
Yeah, it's way too early to decide yet.
with no open bar last week, Mauler has been working overtime. Give this man a raise. Got me addicted to Blue Prince. Hope your holiday was great. It was great, yeah.
We've gotten a bunch of people addicted to it. Some people said, like, get Drinker to play. It's like, I don't want to risk him getting addicted to it, okay? This is bad if you play it too much.
What is this thing?
Is it?
It's a roguelike. So there's a big old mansion. You get given a choice of 3 doors. There's like a near 50 doors in the whole mansion to open up different rooms, and they'll give you different benefits and resources and a lot of mysteries and mechanics to unlock as you go through. And each day resets, and so you have to try and get better and better while earning more and more permanent upgrades and stuff. It's doesn't sound like much on paper, but when you play it, it gets addictive real fast.
I went into your live stream for about...
Oh, God.
I went into the live stream for about 5 minutes more, and I'll be honest, I couldn't make head or tail of what was going on.
I wouldn't recommend anyone watching it mid through. It'll be a fucking baffling experience in terms of everything. But I didn't know anything going in, and I quickly became quite stuck to it.
So depending on which door you choose, does it completely change the story, or is it just like how the story plays out in terms of like your specific character development?
In universe, it's essentially a fantasy mansion that changes its rooms all the time, and that's how they like justify it somewhat with the story. But what's happening is I think grandpa dies, and he bequeaths you the mansion if you can get to the antechamber or the 46th room, I think it is. And it's a difficult thing to do, but you get closer and closer every single day until you'll crack it. So it sounds
really cool, actually.
No, that's a neat idea.
I mean, I do recommend it. It's kind of one of my favorite games of the year right now.
It's nice a game that doesn't rely on like just hacking people to PCs or blowing shit up or whatever. It's like something a bit more interesting. My script idea for your Kickstarter will be Sydney Sweeney gets a job at a strip club, starring Sydney Sweeney as Sydney Sweeney, directed by Zack Snyder for the slow-mo close-ups. Vote for me, guys. Fuck, man, that gets my vote right there. I feel like it's going to end up with like an insanely buff Sydney Sweeney, though, for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we can get that in 15 minutes with Zack Snyder, though. Like, that was one of the things. It has to be like 15 minutes. He's going to want a Snyder cut with more slow-mo, and...
Yeah. Let's go for that one guy. Yes, we will. Also, Master of Puppets says, welcome back, Drinker. I'm a bit surprised that no one on Open Bar and Real BBC or FNT mentioned Val Kilmer's passing. RIP to the legend. We must have done it on Open Bar.
I was going to say, that's strange, unless, because we're pretty familiar with his career.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we didn't, rest in peace, you legend, and Doc Holliday is probably my favorite performance from him.
Yeah, superb. Iceman, Doc Holliday, both superb characters. And also really like his fucking fast reload in Heat, superb. Yeah, great stuff. What was the other one here? Kevin O'Neill says, Dank, I totally get it. I lost a bunch of weight, ditched the fat clothes, and gained all the weight back.
I'll hold on to them then, just in case.
So, as a person who used to cut weight and like gain weight back and stuff, just keep like 2 pairs of fat pants.
I've still got all my clothes. I've put a little bit of the weight back on because of these stomach ulcers. So if I had to eat carbs, I've been surviving on boiled rice and fucking toast for like the last 2 weeks, and that's the first carbs I've had in fucking months. So I'm putting some of the weight back on, but I'll be fine.
How long?
Yeah,
I thought you'd honestly be shitting and vomiting all the way out. Like anything you eat, you'd just be like, oh, fucking.
No, it was originally I got food poisoning. It was like me and my girlfriend got food poisoning at a restaurant, but 3 days later she was fine. But I was like doubled over in fucking agony, like really bad. I was in A&E twice because of it, and then they like rushed me in, shoved a camera down my throat, and went, "You've got ulcers." And so I was like, "Oh, super!" It was the food poisoning, but I had them already. But the food poisoning basically fucked them all up, and that's why I was in pain. I know, it was horrible.
Probably whiskey related.
Was that right?
That's a shit thing. I don't even drink. I don't even drink. That's the thing that really pissed me off.
Call yourself Scottish.
How did I get stomach ulcers before drinker?
Just sitting here laughing.
He's just unaware of it. That's the problem.
There's no justice for this world. Were you sorry? Were you saying you were drinking, having rice and toast? Was that part of the diet, or was that because of your stomach ulcers?
I was because of my stomach ulcers. Like anything
shit.
else caused pain. I could only eat like the plainest stuff. That was
Rice
it. Was
also
really annoying.
absorbs the stomach acids, so it
Yeah,
helps.
they were. They basically
okay.
said rice and bread, anything that soaks up the stomach acid, and I have to drink this stuff called Peptac, and it looks like cum. It looks like fucking cum. It's disgusting as well. It's like drinking
It's
wallpaper paste. Yeah, it's fucking vile. I hate the shit, but I have to drink it 4 times a day.
Dankula doesn't drink. I can't get my head around that. I just picture you with cans of lager watching football. Yeah.
No, I drink whenever I do drink. I need a reason. Oh, is it someone's birthday? Is it a wedding? Is it a stag do? Okay, I'll drink. But when I drink bucky.
That explains it then. Fucking
yeah, that's why.
Might as well drink
all the
fucking paint
Americans when I
stripper.
say, what did you just say? What was it? What was it that you drink?
Bucky, short for Buckfast. It has many names over here. The Commotion Lotion, Wreck the Hoose Juice, Council Tap Water. It's basically, there's an actual statistic that you can look up online. Buckfast has been involved in 60% of violent crimes in Scotland. Google it if you don't believe me. Yeah, it's
like you get port, right? You get port wine. So like strong wine. Right, it's like that, but if it was brewed in someone's fucking toilet somewhere in a council estate in Scotland.
So basically, moonshine is what you're guys are
it's
talking
made by,
about.
it's made by monks. It's literally made by monks. Like they make it. No,
yeah, in the United States, we just call
it's
that
legit.
Like,
Dank is right on this one. It's originally brewed in a monastery by monks. And it became popular with the Neds because like you can drink it, it's very sweet and it's easy to drink.
It tastes like cough syrup. It tastes like cough syrup, but it's
like 20% as opposed to wine, which is normally like 10-11%. So it'll get you fucked up really quickly and easily. So
you guys are on like a whole different level of alcoholism over there.
Oh no, I live in an area literally called, you can Google this again, it's called the Buckfast Triangle. 80% of global Buckfast sales are in the small area that I live in. Yeah, I'm not joking. It's a cultural thing. They used to market it as a health tonic, which is why it's still called tonic wine. But then, like, our equivalent to like the FDA came in and went, "You can't say that." Like, fucking killing people. So they removed the health part and they just call it tonic wine now.
Well, that was a lot of the origin of like the New Jersey, New York mafias. Was they sold a lot of their liquor as a medicinal liquor, and that was kind of how they got around
it's the great unifier. Like no matter where you are, like New Jersey, fucking Cumbernauld or whatever, it's the same shit. It's like selling people poison that'll kill them, but like marketing it to make them feel good about themselves.
Wasn't
like,
there
you're dying, but here you go.
There's a company that started prohibition laws because they sold this like brick of compressed grape, and they basically put on the packet, whatever you do, don't sit this in water with sugar and leave it for 3 weeks. They literally said on the pack, don't do that, but they were telling you how to make wine. Yeah. That's what they did during prohibition. They sold fucking shit tons of them as well.
It was great. I'll do a couple more here just to finish up the member chats here. Snack says, at least Bella Ramsey looks like a believable lesbian. I fucking Down syndrome.
Yeah, that's true. Got the plaid shirts and everything.
Yeah. The actress that plays Abby is actually very talented and she's very pretty. So it's an upgrade in my book. Yeah, she is. She's really good. She's instantly way more likable than the real Abby from the. So yeah, that's good.
As much as I don't really want to watch the show, I will be watching the golf club scene. I mean, how could I not? Right? It's like we've all got to see what they adapt on that.
I want to see a woman with spaghetti arms trying to swing a golf club and make it look menacing. It's like they can't do it. It's like what was it, Swordfish, when they had Halle Berry try and swing a golf club and hit like a fucking 200-yard drive, and she just looks so clumsy and awkward, man. They should have given her more time to practice. It was just it was brutal. John Gets Gaming says, this is Joe from the second game. He never defends himself or brings his legit points. Maria talks down to Tommy. Ellie and Dina talk down to Jesse constantly for no reason, and Ellie is a dumbass. Yep.
That's
correct
the thing,
on all points.
Which is why it's really fucking awkward. It's like, how good is it as an adaptation? Like, well, you know. Like, I guess it's good.
I mean,
in a
it's
way.
yeah, it's accurate. You guys got to go back to the echo chamber. Great stream. Yeah, well, we're doing it. Joe Rios says, I would love to see Negan show up on this and pacify Dina and Ellie and just turn to everyone, smile, and say, that's how you do it. I think we'd all approve of that. Let's see. Let's see the next one. Yeah. Space Whiskey, 5 years later, and Ellie still looks like 7 years old. Yeah, I don't know what to describe her as. The actress has got a unique visage. I don't know how else to say it. Yeah, Jesus de Villa gifted a Critical Drinker membership, so thank you very much, my friends. Let's see what was. Yeah. Do it. Kill her.
Do it. Kill her.
What's this one? You need the first 3 God of War games in order for Data Boy to have impact. If you jump right into Data Boy, most won't understand the significance of the blades, why Kratos' skin is white, why Athena was taunting him, etc., etc.
Completely agreed. You should do Grease first.
That is fair. That is fair. I think that's all the member super chats there. Oh yeah, there's the one. Laura Vandervoort is Supergirl. End of.
That's the Smallville Supergirl, I believe, the show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mower. Heard you discussing Guy Ritchie's film credits on a stream. The Covenant is definitely worth a watch. Low in Guy Ritchie's-ness, but the film is very tight, clean, and clear, which I'm finding rare. Surprisingly emotional, also coherent action scenes.
Have you guys seen that? The Covenant?
I've seen The Covenant. Bit
Years
flabby
ago.
compared to his normal stuff, and not his usual fare. It's not his usual like gangster sort of thing. Pretty decent film though. I did like it. I think it's quite heartfelt.
All right. Well, I might be able to check it out at some point. I'm just a bit busy right now, especially with Mobland. That's like my go-to for now. Have you guys seen that?
No, looking forward to it.
No, you recommended it to me though.
Yes, I recommend it to pretty much everybody. 3 solid episodes are enough for me to be like, all right, this looks like it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
very good cast as well.
But yeah, that I will probably stop for tonight because I haven't slept in about 48 hours and I really fucking need to go to bed. So I want to say thank you, though, everyone, not just for the panel, but you gentlemen giving up a couple hours of your time. Very much appreciate it. Also, everyone who's super chatted us and joined us for chat tonight, and for my mods who've done the usual awesome job that they always do. Very much appreciate you guys. And the super chats that we've missed tonight, we will absolutely catch up with them. And we still have to catch up with the previous open bar because I went away like the day after, so I didn't have enough time to do it. But rest assured, we will do it all on a last order. So Mauler and I will answer all your questions.
Hell yeah.
But right now, for tonight, that is all we've got for today. So go away now.
Bye-bye.